There are 3 easy steps in creating your resume link. Let me show you how.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com using any browser and click Register Now. Fill out all the information needed. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and it's easy to recall by potential employers. For example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz.jobs180.com. Step 2. Create and design. When creating your resume, make sure to complete your personal information and upload your profile picture. One of the highlights of the resume link is the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, you can show off your skills by uploading samples of your work like documents, pictures, videos, and your social media links.
Your resume link also features different themes and you can upload a cover photo. This is a combination of a cover letter and a social network cover photo. Here is an example. You can also download a copy of your resume link and print it. Step 3. Apply for a job. There are many ways to apply with your resume link.
First is browsing the job recommendations in your Jobs 180 dashboard.
If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link. So what are you waiting for? Dress up your next generation resume, stand out brightly among the competitive job seekers in the market, and win the heart of your future employers using Resume Link.
Good morning, everyone. This is Robert from Jobs 180, and welcome to Jobs 180's Marketing Me Live. Now, today's session is done for and in coordination with Central Mindanao University. Before we move forward, may we invite you to join us for a short prayer, followed by the playing of Central Mindanao University's school hymn.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. I see that some of you are already logging in. Sana if may sumunod pa that they will be able to join us. And of course, this event would not have been possible if it were not for the coordination of your school officials. We are glad that we have someone from CMU to share a message to formally start our event. Now, to give our opening remarks, I would like to introduce your Director for Office for Student Affairs, Professor Raul M. Ebunya.
Good godly day, seniors of class 2020-2021. This is my second time in meeting with you virtually. I hope you are now in your comfortable position because in the next few hours, you will hear information, guidelines, and tips regarding your career development. Your batch is very fortunate because career development was given more importance. If you, if you have noted in your General Assembly, the OSCO officers launched an advocacy on career development and opportunities. Career, career guidance seminar is a regular program of Office of Student Affairs spearheaded by the Guidance Counseling Center. And I would like to recognize the effort of Mr. Noel Margate, the head of the GCC, and his fellow RGC for connecting our graduates to job180.com. Jobs180.com is an IT company that provides online tools to the graduating students so that they can be assisted in job seeking and or job marketing. So, nag-level up tayo ngayon. We are now on online platform and global pa. Thanks again to the auspices of Sir Noel Margate and jobs180.com. Our current situation where we have this COVID pandemic, many have lost their jobs, not to mention yung highly competitive nature of job seeking. Then the presence of these scrupulous people who are doing scams, fake employment, victimizing our novice graduate. So I encourage everyone to be attentive and focused as you will be taught on making resume, personal branding, job interview tips, and developing strong work ethics for free. Again, welcome to this career guidance seminar, and I hope that this will be helpful in your career development. Make the most of this, seeing you once of class 2020-2021.
Thank you, Professor Ebunya, for taking the time to prepare the message. And hopefully nga, sa message nyo that this event would help our students para sa kanilang application and moving forward even beyond the application. Okay, so right now nakikita ko na meron na tayong audience. I'm monitoring the comments. I am seeing a hashtag being used and that you are ready to graduate. That is good and I hope you graduate soon. I support you, kaya niyan. Uh, please comment lang, dagdag ko na, bukod sa inyong hashtag, please comment your name, your course, and the year of your graduation para lang makilala namin kayo lalo. And also, please use this comment section for our Q&A later. So, kasama sa ating program is that we have topics and then we will have a short Q&A after. So, right now, while you are typing in your hashtags, include na lang, once again, your name, your course, and the year of your graduation. Okay, so now I would like to show the topics, although nabanggit na siya kanina nung opening remarks. So here are our topics for today. We have 4 topics, and the first is ResumeLink, and then we would have someone from jobs180.com to give the talk. Next is online applications. We have someone from CDO Food Sphere, interview tips, someone from Alorica Philippines, and last, developing a strong work ethic. And we will have someone from VXI Global Holdings. So I will be introducing the speakers one by one at the time that they will be giving yung kanilang talk. Okay, so I think we are now ready to start with our first topic. Now, to introduce our first speaker, our first speaker, he has 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, business development, customer service, operations, business process, and human resources. As a trusted resource speaker, he has done over 1,000 career development seminars in more than 400 colleges and universities nationwide. Let's all welcome the Managing Director of Jobs180.com, Mr. Kim Chua.
And those who are listening, I know it's this time of the year na wala tayong magawa kundi nasa bahay pa rin. Everything is online. And for this afternoon, I would like to share to you something unique and something very useful, especially in this time right now. So ito yung tinatawag nating resume link. Now, what is a resume link? This is your tool when you start to look for a job. Now, a lot of you are thinking, the first thing to do is to create your information. And most of you would say, I need a resume if I'm going to look for a job. Now, the question is, are you using the right tool? Because marami mga tools right now being offered, di ba, left and right. When you go shopping, there's a lot of shopping platform, di ba? When you do something else, there's a lot of platform. Now, when you look for a job, there's also a lot of platform. Now, the question is, are you using the right one? And this time, I want to show you why the resume link is the right tool. So let me ask you first, mga questions na sagutin nyo lang, no? Parang self-reflection lang ito. Unang kong tanong is, whenever you want to apply to a company, do you want to stand out? I guess the answer is yes, because there's so many competition out there, and definitely you want to stand out. This tool can help you stand out. Another self-reflection question is, do you have more than one file? Do you have a file for your medical records? Do you have your file for academic records? Do you have your file for government IDs? And do you have your file for personal portfolio? If the answer is yes, then maybe you should start thinking to put them all together na in one file. And again, this tool can help you do that. Okay? O mamaya, excited na kayo ha? Excited na. Tuloy ko lang, no? Another thing that this tool can help you is to make the process of the application faster and more efficient. Not only on your part, but also on the part of the employer. So yung mga ina-applyan nyo, mas mabilis kayo mapaprocess. Kung paano, standby lang. I'll show you in a while. Okay? Another thing that this tool can do is to definitely not make you spend even for a single centavo. Tipid. Because I'm sure a lot of us right now, diba, hindi pa nga kayo, yung mga nakikinig, no, na naghahanap pa ng trabaho, na nag-iipon pa, or mag-iipon pa lang later on, definitely you want to save some money there and resources. And the most important question is, will your information be secured? Oh, yan ang ultimate question. And this tool definitely can deliver that. This is considered as the most secured resume. Yan. Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Because the resume link, by definition, is a personalized URL. It is a link that anyone can open online anytime. Okay? So, ano example ng resume link? Let me use an example para lang makarelate kayo. If your name, say for example, is John Santos, ang link mo pwede maging johnsantos.jobs180.com. Ganun lang kasimple. Yan na po ang resume link nyo. So, you're now thinking, uy, paano ko gagawa niyan? Oh, simple lang po ah. The first step is you have to register. Remember, there are 3 basic steps. So these are the steps. The first step is for you to register. This is absolutely for free. Wala itong bayad. Libre po iyan. How do you register? You go to the website of jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com. And from that website, you click on register. As you can see on the screen, on the upper right side portion, click register. Now, what you need to do then is to start putting your information in. Now, the good thing is, kung nakagawa ka na ng inyong resume format, maybe in your Word file or in your PDF file or other file format, what you can do next is just to simply copy those information here inside the resume link. It saves you time. Diba? Why do you want to copy them here? Because remember, you are creating the most secured resume. Diba? Yan ang gagawin natin eh. Okay? So, as you now do your information, as you put those information in, the first thing that you have to do when you fill out those information is to create your unique name. And dyan nakabase ang resume link sa unique name nyo. Now, what is a unique name? Well, pretty much your name is your unique name. Halimbawa, sabi ko nga kanina, kung pangalan mo John Santos, then pwede na siya maging johnsantos.jobs180.com. Now, kung sakali lang, may kapangalan ka. Kasi hindi naman ikaw nag-iisang John Santos at naunahan ka. Ano mangyayari? Magkakaroon doon ng notification telling you that this name has already been taken. But don't worry, huwag kayong malungkot pag taken na, okay lang. You just have to be creative. Diba? Ano gagawin natin? Pwede mo baliktarin. Pwede mo gawin santosjohn.jobs180.com. Diba? Or pwede mo gawin J Santos, Santos J, JS, SJ. Depende kung ano gusto mo gawin. Basta importante, wala kang kapareho kahit kayo may kapangalan. Malinaw ba? Okay? Another reminder is, pag gumawa ka ng resume link, huwag tayo over-creative. No, huwag tayo OA. Yung mga tipong ganyan, yung mga pa-cutie-cutie na nakalagay, Cutie Pie, Barbie Doll, El Diablo, Boss Pogi, it doesn't sound professional. Diba? So, I do not recommend that you use those kind of example, but what I do recommend is just stick to your name. Whatever your name is, it will sound professional. Now, as you continue to register, you have to use a valid email. Importante po, valid email. When I say valid email, emails that you're able to open, kagaya ng mga Yahoo, Ymail, Gmail, Outlook, or any email na nabubuksan nyo. Never use emails like at facebook.com na email. Example lang do not use michael@facebook.com na email. Do not use jennifer@facebook.com na email. Because if you use @facebook.com na email to register, you will no longer be able to receive notification being sent to you by the companies as well as jobs180.com. So it's very important that you use an email that you can open because you have to validate and verify your account. Diba? Yan ang ebidensya na ikaw nag-register So paano mo gagawin? Open your email, look for the verification link, and then you're done with the first step. Ano yung first step? Recap lang. First step is register. Absolutely walang bayad. This is for free. Now, let's go to the second step. The second step is the most logical of all the steps. Pinaka-logical ito. Kailangan kumpletong detalye. Diba? Who among you here will create a resume tapos kulang-kulang detalye? I don't think you will do that because you will not waste your time and you will not waste the time of the HR by submitting a bungi-bungi na data. Diba? Mag-apply ka, kulang-kulang data mo. Diba? I don't think you'll do that. Diba? You're just wasting your time. So, how do you now complete your information? This is what you do. Go back again to the website of jobs180.com, www.jobs180.com. But this time, you don't have to register kasi may account ka na What you need to do is to log in. Okay? Now, as you log in, you put your email or your resume link na kayo lang may alam yan and your password. For sure, kayo lang may alam. Now, as you do that, you now start to complete your information. Now, again, as a reminder, kung nakagawa ka na ng resume format mo sa Word file or sa other file format, sa PDF or kung saan man, ang recommend ko is just copy all those information here inside the resume link. It saves you a lot of time. Okay? And at the same time, it makes your data secured. So, moving forward, ano yung mga information na lagay nyo dito? I will not dwell on all the information. I will not go through all of them because obviously, you know what to put there. Pag nakalagay doon email, malamang email mo. Pag nakalagay address, malamang address mo, hindi yung address ng kapitbahay mo, di ba? So you put your own information there. Now, what I want to emphasize are the following. One of which is to make sure that you put all the possible means na pwede kang makontak ng isang HR. Lahat ng posibleng paraan, lagay mo yung email. But you don't open your email more often than you open your social media. Tama? You put your cell phone for sure. But you don't answer it every time someone calls you. Lalo na kung may tumatawag sa iyo, tapos hindi mo kilala. Tapos sabihin mo, hala, sino kaya itong tumatawag? Di ba? Ayaw mo sagutin. That's why I recommend lahat ng pwedeng paraan, lagay mo dyan para makontak ka kagad ng HR, including your social media account, para makapag-private message na lang tayo kaagad. It's easier for those companies to get in touch with you by sending you a private message. Can you follow? Tuloy natin. Next, you put here your objectives, you put all the information, kayo na bahala. No? What I want to highlight as well is that there is a portion here called work options. You can choose from the following. Parang yes, no switch lang yan. On-off switch. The system will try to match you with those companies who are also looking for the same profile with what you have. Example, willing to work night shift, willing to relocate, looking for OJT. Maybe some of the listeners right here, right now, are also looking for OJT. Diba? Yung mga hindi pa kayo sawa mag-OJT, gusto isa pang OJT, pwede rin. Na? Willing to work overseas, ganun din. Yes or no lang yan. Okay? So you can do as many yes as many no's. Kayo bahala. No? And then, you proceed to the next one, which is education. Under education, obviously, lagay nyo yung school ninyo. Kung meron kayo ibang school other than your present school, you can also put it here. Wala tong limit sa space. Okay, pagdating po sa seminars attended, ganun din. Kahit magkopyahan pa kayo ng mga classmates mo ng seminars attended, just make sure lang na alam mo yung seminar na yun, baka mamaya ma-question ka during the interview about the seminar. When it comes to the certification portion, you also put here your mga certification program nyo, kung meron kayo, you also put it here. At pagdating po sa achievement, dyan kadalasan na mga problema yung mga aplikante. A lot of times, applicant would ask me, Sir Kim, I have a problem. I don't have an achievement. Gagraduate na po ako, feeling ko wala pa rin ako achievement. Alam mo, hindi totoo yan. Hindi ako naniniwala. Bawat isa sa inyo na nakikinig ngayon, okay, regardless kung nasaan ka pa nga, okay, sure ako meron ka na nag-achievement at one point in your life. Sure ako dyan, meron ka na nag-achievement. Do not limit your achievement only inside the school. Hindi lahat naka-base lang ang achievement sa academic performance. Hindi naman kayo lahat dito, Dean's Lister. Hindi kayo lahat honor student. O, di ba? O, nakaka-relate. Correct? Oh, pero some of you are student leaders. Active kayo. Bibo kayo sa school. Maybe some of you, hindi kayo bibo sa school. Shy type kayo. No? Shy type kayo sa school. Pero sa labas ng school, sobrang active nyo. Diba? Baka member ka sa mga association. Baka active ka sa barangay mo. Isa kang kagawad. Diba? Malay ko. Diba? Depende kung anong mga pinagkakabalahan mo. Basta remember, whatever you think is an achievement, you put it here. Because what you're doing is you're trying to market yourself more effectively to that company or to the prospective employer. Okay, moving forward. What else do you put here? Your skills and languages. Now, here, I want to emphasize on one thing sa skills. Most of the time, yung mga HR, ito napapansin, common observation. You only put the skills that are relevant to your course. Yan yung kadalasan nangyayari. Kung ang course mo ay nasa business, malamang yung mga skills nilalagay mo pang business. Pag nasa HRM, ang mga skills nilalagay mo pang HRM. Pag nasa music ka, ang mga skills mo pang music. Diba? Hindi lang naman yan ang skills na alam mo eh. I'm sure, even if engineering graduate ka, may alam kang ibang mga skills na walang connect sa engineering. Example, you're into multimedia, you're into graphic design, diba? You're into doing some Photoshop, maybe your own photography, videography, mga iba-iba, arts and crafts. Diba? Lahat ng yan. Diba? Plantito, plantita. Lahat yan, skills mo yan. You put everything here because what you're doing is you're marketing yourself more effectively to that company. Okay? Pagdating sa languages, I'm sure you already know at least two basic languages. You know English and Tagalog or Filipino. No? Filipino, to be specific, Tagalog. Some of you knows other dialect. Sa Bacano, Bisaya, Ilonggo, Kapampangan, wala yung limit sa space. If you know foreign languages, put it there. Vietnamese, Chinese, French, diba? Korean, kung ano man. Lahat yan, pwede mo ilagay. Walang limit sa space. Okay? Now, pagdating sa references, I am sure yung mga references ninyo, kilala nyo. The question is, kayo ba kilala nila? Sana, di ba? Kasi, sana all, sabi nga, no? Kasi nga, madalas, hindi kayo maalala ng mga references pag tinatawagan na ng mga HR to do some background checking. So what I recommend, you advise those people that you're using as a reference that you made them as a reference. Okay? Malinaw? Okay. Now, up to this point, I think alam nyo na to. Alam nyo na yan. What I will do next is I will show you, okay, what makes this resume link amazing. Let me start with the portfolio section. What is this portfolio section? This portfolio section is where you now upload evidence of your skills. Example, ano ebidensya na graduate ka na later on? Meron kang diploma, meron kang certificate, di ba? Meron kang transcript. O, iba, so yun, nagsasagot pa. Sir, yung toga ba ebidensya? Hindi. Okay? Hindi. Oh, ano pa? Some of you are thinking, ano ba ang ebidensya na pwede ka pumunta sa ibang bansa? Diba? Meron kang passport, meron kang visa. Okay? Ano ebidensya na wala kang criminal record? Meron kang NBA clearance, meron kang police clearance. O, di ba? So those are the things that, you know, show proof of what you are claiming dito sa inyong mga skills. Kaya, gumagaan yung buhay, mas mabilis yung process ngayon ng mga companies because whatever they need to check on you, it's already in here. O, di ba? And besides, di ba, try to think. Kung lahat kayo magkaka-classmate, mag-classmate kayo lahat, no? You came from the same school, you had the same teachers, you had the same curriculum, and you went through the same OJT program. Example lang, hypothetical scenario, lahat kayo pare-pareho. Sabay-sabay ka graduate. What will make you stand out? Pag tinanong ka ng HR, anong meron mo na wala dun sa classmate mo? O, di ba? So you now start to think, nga no, lahat kami pare-pareho. Hindi. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, everyone is unique. And I'm sure each of you can offer whatever that unique is to the company. And how do you do that? Ito recommend ko para maiba. You now get your smartphone. Okay? Ito yung trending. Marami sa mga aplikante ngayon gumagawa ng tinatawag na selfie video. In that selfie video, what you need to do lang is just get your smartphone, record the selfie video, you say something interesting about yourself, You can pretend that you're being interviewed by the HR and answer questions like, why should we hire you? Tell me something about yourself. O depende kung ano gusto mo sagutin, di ba? It need not be very long. Hindi kailangan mahaba, no? Gawin mo lang siya mga 30 seconds to 1 minute. Ganun lang kabilis. Okay? And then what you're able to do here is you're able to highlight yung mga things that HR people are looking for. Okay? Ano yung mga hinahanap ng mga HR kadalasan? The basic things that HR people look for, one is communication skills. Diba? So they don't have to have a hard time pa calling you. Sometimes hirap-hirap tawagan, minsan hindi kayo ma-reach, sometimes na-reach kayo, ang ingay ng background, sometimes hindi kayo available, diba? So wag natin pahirapan, wag natin patagalin. Just create that selfie video, it can already show your communication skills and how you present yourself in front of the person. I'm not saying English video. So kung hindi ka komportable mag-English, huwag ka mag-English, edi mag-Taglish ka or mag-Tagalog ka. But I recommend you speak in English hanggat kaya natin. Diba? Kasi yan ang universal language when we apply to companies. Now, you don't only show here yung mga soft skills natin. You also show here yung mga hard skills. Example, if you are from music, halimbawa lang, no? Ano yung proof na marunong ka mag-play ng instrument na yan? Then you record that selfie video showing yourself playing that instrument. O, di ba? If you're in the HRM, then show them that you know how to set up the table. Example, how to fold table napkins. Di ba? If you're from engineering, maybe you can show them kung ano yung specific thing na yon. Di ba? How to use a soldering iron, how to use a welding machine. Depende. No? So the list can go on and go on. No? Ang point ko lang is, using those selfie videos, it simplifies the process for those companies, specifically those HR, who wants to see na marunong ka talaga yung sa skill na sinasabi mo. Diba? Because yun naman yung pinaka-point dyan. Mapaiksi natin yung proseso. Okay? What else do you put here? You also put here your profile picture. When it comes to the profile picture, you don't have to make it, you don't have to go to the studio. Ito yung mga studio para magpa-picture. Hindi kailangan. Ang importante dito, nakatingin ka sa camera, plain background. Okay? Do not upload photo, yung mga profile photos nyo that look like the ones on the right side of the screen that I'm showing you. It doesn't look professional. Yung mga ganyan, selfie, look upside view, yung mga kinakat ninyo, diba? Hindi yan maganda tignan. Okay, yung mga ini-edit. Another thing that you can do with your resume link is you can put your cover photo. O, diba? May kasabihan tayo. A picture paints 1,000 words. So, pasintabi lang sa matatamaan. Beep lang. Not everyone who's listening today or listening here are gifted with writing skills. Sometimes we are having a difficult time expressing our thoughts and feelings into words. Hindi mo siya maisulat, hindi mo siya maitype kasi hindi siya natural sa atin eh. Pero pagdating sa picture, ang galing. Pag nakita mo yung picture, alam mo kagad ano gusto niyang sabihin, ano yung message niya. Look at these examples I'm showing you. The one on the left. Obvious naman, di ba? Siya ay eye expert. Di ba? Some would say ophthalmologist. Maybe some would say optometrist. Depende. No? On the right side of the screen, you see someone who is maybe showing na siya ay multitasker. O, di ba? Depende. No? Marami siyang alam na gadget. Example ng mga gadget, paggamit ng stapler. Diba? Yan yung mga example. Sample lang. Okay? Now, another example here is that this is someone from psychology or maybe from guidance counseling or maybe, I don't know, makulay ang buhay or matalino. Di ba? Again, depende how you want to express your personality. Okay? Another good example is this one. Di ba? Ang gusto niya sabihin, there's no shortcut to success. Okay? You take yung step mo to your success one step at a time. Yan ang gusto niyang sabihin dyan. Hindi siya social climber. Okay? Hindi rin to miyembro ng Akyat Bahay Gang, if that's what you're thinking. Okay? So again, just joking. Okay? Now, kung pinakita ko yung magaganda example, ito yung mga wag nyo naman gagayahin, yung mga susunod ko papakita. Okay? When you create a cover photo, please make sure you double check yung picture nyo. Mag-like ka ng picture, wag ka magpapaka-misteryoso na hindi nila alam kung sino ka. Because a lot of times, yung mga pangalan ngayon, interchangeable. Ako mismo, guilty ako dyan. My name is Kim. A lot of people think babae ako. Sometimes I see resume, nakalagay sa resume nila, Joey. Oh, nakalagay, Chris. Diba? I would assume lalaki, yung pala babae. Diba? Minsan Alex, George, dami, diba? Very mga interchangeable. So, recommend ko, put your picture there. Now, pag walang laman yan, ganito itsura. Look at your screen. Imagine submitting a resume link to a company na walang laman. It's just like saying you're submitting your hard copy, yung one short band, long band paper mo, na ang laman lang, pangalan. I don't think the HR will process your information if that's how you're going to do it. So you have to make it attractive. Now, talking about being attractive, wag naman OA. No? Kagaya nito, pasintabi lang din. This is just my opinion of a not so good example of a resume link cover photo. Because Ang interpretation ko sa picture niya parang tamad, parang happy-go-lucky, parang, medyo chill-chill lang, no? So again, it depends on how you're going to show your personality. Now, what I want to highlight is to make sure kompleto lahat ng detalye. Everything has to be there. Okay? You have to try to, fill out all the information possible para it's easier for the HR to process your application. Look at this example. Everything is there, including the document, portfolio section, even attachments na proof na siya ay isang eye expert or someone who took up ophthalmology. Diba? There. So, you're now thinking, Sir, kung gumawa ako ng resume link and I put everything there, baka naman yung mga information ko nakakalat na sa buong mundo. Baka naman yung mga data ko nakalantad na sa buong internet. The answer is no. Very big no. Kaya nga siya tinawag na the most secured resume. Diba? Bakit? Because you control your privacy settings. Yes. Ulitin ko yan ha. The user or kayo mismo, the one who's listening right now, kayo ang may ultimate control over your privacy settings. How do you do that? You now go to your account. As you log in, you have a dashboard. In your dashboard, it says their privacy settings. Pag hinik mo yung settings under doon, lalabas yung privacy settings. Paglabas ng privacy settings, you choose the information that you want to disclose in public. Okay? Example lang ha, you don't want to show your birthday. What do? You turn it off. You don't want to show your address. What do? You turn it off. You don't want to show your references. What do? You turn it off. So in short, lahat na naka-off, hindi lalabas sa public. Ayos ba? At kayo lang ang may control niyan. Kayo lang. Walang ibang may control niyan. Hindi yung school nyo, hindi kami, wala. Ikaw bilang user. You have the ultimate control over your privacy settings. That's why yan ang sinasabi nating most secured resume. Hindi lang yan. The information that you change will also be updated real time. So if today you decide to, hide your birthday, your address, and your references, let's say 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, you decide to open some of the information, definitely by real time yan, updated na rin sila lahat ng binigyan mo ng resume link ng mga information na gusto mo i-change. Ayos? Ayos. Okay. So, reminders lang, so before we go to the last step, just a reminder, when you make your resume link, make sure it's interesting and attractive for companies to, to see your information. Diba? Para may ma-hook sila, no? To get all the information. At pag na-hook sila, dapat kumpletong detalye. Especially your contact details. They have to be updated. Okay? Wag yung mga luma na information kasi sayang din. Diba? Just update it. Okay? Now we go to the last step. So, recap lang. What's the first step? You register. This is absolutely for free. Second step, you complete the information, which is the most logical step. And the last step now is for you to submit. Now, how do you submit applications or how do you submit your resume link to companies? Okay? You have different options. And I'll show you all the options possible. Number one, you go to the website of jobs180.com. Go to www.jobs180.com. And this time, what do? Syempre, you search. Okay? So as you search on the website, you see some companies there na baka gusto nyo applyan and you want to be part of. I recommend you submit your resume link. Now, I have something to remind you. Kahit na hindi ka pa qualified, I recommend you submit your resume link. Ulitin ko lang kahit hindi ka pa qualified, I recommend you submit your resume link to that company for as long as you want to be part of that organization or that company. Why? Here's the reason behind this. Pag today, yung company naghahanap ng 2 years experience, wala ka pang 2 years experience, fresh grad ka pa lang, example. Diba? Ano gagawin mo? Submit mo pa rin resume link mo dun sa company kahit na kailangan niya ng 2 years experience. Because 2 years from now, I think meron ka ng 2 years experience. And if that company already has your resume link because you submitted it today, by later on, 2 years later, di ba? By then, 2 years later, pag in-update mo information mo anytime, real-time updated yung mga companies na binigyan mo ng resume link. And you could be considered for those vacancies na. Di ba? Ayos! O, di ba? Di na kayo na pabalik-balik. Wala na tipong, ma'am, I applied to your company 2 years ago. Di ba? Sir, I was your intern 5 months ago. Wala na paulit-ulit. No? You just have to submit your resume link one time and just update it on your end. Another way to submit your resume link is through email. And I'm sure, sending resumes through email is not a new thing to you. Alam nyo na paano gumamit ng email for sure. Now, ang gusto ko lang emphasize, ano yung nilalagay nyo sa email nyo. Do you attach your document file, your PDF file, or whatever file? If the answer is yes, wag mo na gawin yan. Here's what you do. Write your email. Compose your email. Dear HR manager, my name is, in this case, my name is Kim. I'd like to apply in your company, and this is my resume. You just type there your resume link. In my case, kimchua.jobs180.com. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Send. Tapos na. Diba? Wala ka na kailangan gawin email ng email. Paano kung nagpalit ka ng phone number? You have to advise the HR, and you have to send another email by saying, Dear HR manager, my name is Kim. I'd like to apply in your company again. I have attached my updated resume. Paano kung nagpalit ka na naman ng address? Ano gagawin mo? Attach ka na naman ng panibagong attachment, email ka na naman. Dear HR manager, my name is Kim, and attached is my updated, most recent resume. O, di ba? Ang dami mo kailangan pabalik-balik, ulit-ulit. You don't have to do that. Sayang oras mo, sayang din oras ng HR. So this time, I recommend just put your resume link as part of the email. O, di ba? And then they can open it anytime, real time. Next, for those who wants to print their resume link, the good news is you can now print your resume link. Yes, pwede ka mag-print. And the system, the Jobs 180 system, will try to compress all your information into one page. Maginhawa na ang buhay. Pag print mo, isang page na lang. O, di ba? Hanggat maaari. Depende lang yan kung 1 column or 2 column version. But again, the system will try to compress it. Now, how do you do that? Go to your dashboard, look for the print option. Okay? Baka lang may konting changes lang because we continue to innovate. So what you're seeing might not exactly be the same, but the functionalities are there. Look for print option, and then you just choose kung 1 column or 2 column version. Okay? For those who wants to print ng resume pero gusto magtipid, kasi kung mag-apply ka sa 10 companies, ayaw mo gumastos ng 10 sets of long band or short band paper. So what do I recommend? I recommend you create your resume link card. Yes, you heard me right. Resume link card. In one piece of paper, short band, you can make 10, 20 sets of resume link card. It's up to you to be creative. You just put the information you want to put there. Definitely do not forget to put your resume link there. At yan ang ibibigay mo sa mga kumpanya as a hard copy. Now, why am I recommending you to do this? Okay, this is more secured and more cost efficient. Obviously, cost efficient, alam niyo na kung bakit. You don't have to spend a lot, diba, when you do this. Now, bakit siya mas secured? Imagine submitting your traditional resume. You have a Word file printout. No? Sinabit mo sa kumpanya. For some reason, nilipad siya ng hangin. Whoever gets hold of that paper, alam na niya buong details mo. Alam na niya lahat because everything is there. That's why I'm saying, hindi secured yun pag ganun. Pero pag ginamit mo ang resume link mo, secured, even through resume link card. Because whoever gets hold of that piece of paper na ang resume link lang nakalagay, kontrolado mo ang privacy settings mo. Di ba? Ayos. Okay. So just to show you some images lang, okay, how resume link is being used. Most of the time, nowadays, puro gadget na po tayo. No? Kung may gadget, gamitin ng technology to your advantage. And just to have a checklist again, going back to our checklist, are you using the right tool? Refer to these items. Number 1, do you have control over your information? Definitely, through resume link, yes. Kayo may ultimate control ng information mo. Kahit na isubmit mo na yan sa kumpanya, pwede mo pang bago-baguhin yung data. Kung anong information lang ang gusto mo pa i-hide or i-show in public. Second, the speed of hire becomes more efficient because whatever the HR needs from you and whatever you want to show the HR, you can already attach it inside the resume link as part of the portfolio or document section. O, di ba? Nababawasan ni pabalik-balik yung magpapadala ka ulit. Email. Here is my academic records. Email ka ulit. Dear ma'am, you've requested for my medical certificate. Di ba? Another item, ang dami mong papadala. Diba? This time, wala na. Everything is there. Okay? Flexible, because if you want to have a printed version, then by all means, hindi ka may galit sa papel. Okay? Meron tayong functionality na pwede ka mag-print ng resume link mo and it comes out as 1 page. Hanggat maaari, the system will try to compress them in 1 page. Cost efficient, I don't have to explain anymore. For sure, alam nyo to, wala tong bayad. Libre ito. Kailangan mo lang internet connection. Sa mga nag-iisip sa inyo, sir, wala akong pang data, wala akong pang load. Huwag ka mag-load. Pumunta ka sa may Wi-Fi. Libre ang Wi-Fi. Kung wala sa inyo, baka sa kapitbahay nyo meron. Diba? So, libre yan. Okay? Just try to be resourceful in finding those internet connection. Okay? Marami pa tong benefits at isa sa pinaka-practical benefit natin ng resume link is that you don't need to save it, yung resume mo, yung file format mo in any type of hard drive or whatever USBs. You don't have to do that. Just remember lang your resume link. And I think you will not forget your name. Diba? It's internet-based. So just, type it with any browser and you can log in. Okay? You don't have to worry about yung mga kung anong version yan because automatic naka-compatible na siya sa lahat ng klaseng version. And you can share your resume link kahit na anong platform. You want to share it through Viber, you want to share it through Facebook, you want to share it through text, kayo bahala. Kayo may control. Sino bibigyan mo ng resume link nyo. Okay? So just to do a shout out lang to all our school partners nationwide right now. By the grace of God, we already have about more than 400 plus colleges and universities nationwide. Yan ang mga partners natin, including your alma mater. Yes, that's why we're doing this. We're so happy, in spite of the situation na tayo ay nasa bahay, pandemic, virtual, we're able to share this tool to you. And you can use this to your advantage. Okay? And so, some of you might have some questions lang na nahiya magtanong. If you have your questions, feel free to send your questions through the chat portion or comment section. Kung ito yung mga questions nyo, sasagutin ko na. Ito yung mga common questions. The first question is, can I give my resume link to companies who do not know about jobs180.com? The question is, yes, definitely yes. You can share this to whoever you want to share it to. Diba? Kahit wala sa Pilipinas, kahit sa ibang bansa, pwede. Basta may internet connection at alam niya ang resume link mo. Which means kayo magbibigay nun. Sa inyo manggagaling. Okay? And they can see your information. Second question, is the resume link the same as LinkedIn or other job platform like JobStreet or etc. etc.? The answer is no. May dalawang pagkakaiba. May dalawang major differences. Ano tong dalawang to? Para makarelate kayo, let me use an example. Let's say JobStreet as an example na lang, no? Because everyone knows JobStreet as a job board. If you have a JobStreet account, you can only apply to companies who are using JobStreet. Kung yung ina-apply mong kumpanya is not using JobStreet, you cannot use your JobStreet resume anymore. With your resume link, you can use it to any company. Kahit na yung kumpanya hindi kilala or walang alam about Jobs 180, you can give your resume link to that company. So that's one. Second difference, kung nabigay mo na yung JobStreet resume mo sa isang company, sa isang HR, lahat na information mo, touch move na yan. When I say touch move, all your information already in the hands of the HR and you cannot change anything anymore because you already submitted it. With your resume link, kahit nabigay mo na sa company yan, kahapon, nung isang araw, nung isang taon, anytime, real time, you always have yung full access to change your information and those information will be reflected real time. Ayos ba? Amazing. Diba? Let's continue. Third question, can I keep my information secured? I hope by this time na may peace of mind na kayo na ito na ang pinaka-secured na tool. Okay? This is the reason why we are in partnership with your school because they also believe in this tool. And this one not only provides security for your information but also allows you to be more flexible in terms of looking for possible opportunities. Okay? Walang limitation eh. Kahit saan pwede. Number 4 question, how often should you update your resume link? You don't update your resume link every day. You don't update it every week. You don't update it every month. You don't update it every year. The answer here is you update it every time. Every time na meron kang changes. Okay? Every time. Lalo na yung contact details mo. Every time you change your SIM card from maybe prepaid to postpaid or you change numbers, I don't know, importante you update your information because those companies can contact you anytime. Okay? Now, the last question is just a common trivia question. Why is this called jobs180.com? The reason why it's called jobs180.com is because we want to turn your life around 180 degrees. Yes. Oh, some of you are reacting. Sir, bakit hindi siya 360? Hindi talaga 360 kasi kung 360, bumalik ka lang kung saan ka galing. Ikot ka lang ng ikot, wala ka na pupuntahan. Balik ka lang ng balik kung saan ka galing. Di ba? So you go 180 degrees, meaning it's a straight line towards your career goal. Okay? Now, just in case lang you have other questions na nahiya kayo magtanong or hindi ko na-address, feel free to send your questions over to our email, info@jobs180.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram to get updates and latest trends pagdating sa recruitment. Okay? My name is Kim Chu Wa. I always joke about my name. Don't forget yung Wa. Baka Kim Chu lang maalala nyo. Na nagsasabing, magandang hapon, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. At stay safe wherever you are. Mawawala rin yung virus na yan. Everything shall pass. Thank you.
So that was Sir Kim with his talk on Jobs 180's resume link. And well, na-cover niya na yung mga FAQs, so we can move forward na to our next topic. Reminder lang, prepare na your resume link. Huwag na natin patagalin. Go to jobs180.com, register, tapos fill in na natin yung mga needed na details. Okay, so let's now move on to our second topic, which is online applications. To introduce our speaker, Kathy is a graduate of BA Behavioral Sciences from UP Manila. She's been with CDO Food Sphere Incorporate for almost 4 years now. Currently, she is a supervisor in HR recruitment. Let's all welcome Ms. Kathy Claire Velasquez.
Hi, good morning.
Casey. So, diretso na po tayo. Tuloy na po na natin sa talk dahil gusto natin bigyan ng audience more time for their questions. So, try na po natin ang ating share screen.
Sure.
Okay. So, while Ms. Casey's sharing her screen, remind ko lang ang ating audience na pwede nyo i-type ang inyong questions dyan sa comments. And thank you then for the audience para dun sa pag-follow yung instructions namin or rather yung request namin na ilagay ang school, course name, and year of graduation. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Casey, I can now see your presentation. Your audio and video is fine. So, I'll be backstage and then I'll be back for our Q&A. Thank you. You can start now.
All right, thank you. Hi, CMU. Good morning. Good morning. I hope everyone is having a good day despite what's happening to our country. So my name is Kathy Claire Velasquez. I prefer to be called Casey, and I'm a recruiter from CDO Food Sphere Inc. So to start with my presentation, in the past years, many organizations have been looking for ways to incorporate technology in hiring people. And this current pandemic, the COVID-19, has highlighted and further given urgency and importance to the development of this area. So many companies have shifted to a different way of hiring people, and the shift may be abrupt for some, but it's been done out of necessity to keep everyone as safe as possible. So today, I'll be talking about how we currently in CDO recruit people, the differences in the recruitment processes of then and now, the challenges and advantages we are facing, and lastly, I'd like to share some tips on how to prepare for virtual interviews. So let's proceed to the main differences of traditional to digital recruitment. Right. So for traditional recruitment, first bullet would be walk-in application. So applicants tend to walk in to submit resumes to the employers. They would tend to print several copies of their resumes or CVs and hand it door to door on their target companies. So based on my experience before, ganyan talaga. So I've tried printing 10 copies every day once I've applied or tried to apply for a company via walk-in. And actually, based on our data, before the pandemic, around 30 to 40% of successful hire came from the ones who walked in. Also, next we have here a pen and paper exam. So self-explanatory. And the standard before is the face-to-face interviews wherein applicant will be scheduled, kailangan niya mag-report to office, and pang ilang beses na punta para to attend the face-to-face interviews to several stages. And lastly, we have here a physical and on-site job fairs. So wherein yung mga companies will partner to schools or to other job boards like jobs180.com and to attend on-site within the vicinity of the school. Now, on the other hand, for the digital recruitment, so from walk-in applications, we started to really encourage and to require our applicants to submit their applications online. So there are the social media, the Facebook, emails, website, job boards like Jobs180. And from pen and paper, we shifted to the online examinations, wherein We give access to our shortlisted applicants to answer their online examinations at the comfort of their home. Next, we have here virtual interviews. Before, the common norm now because of the pandemic is to do a virtual interview. So in CDO, we what we are using is the Google Meet as a common platform for virtual interviews. But for many other companies, there would be using other platforms. So might as well be familiarized, no, yourself with those platforms like Skype, Zoom, Google Meet, and others. Next is, so yeah, from job fairs, physical job fairs, we have now the virtual or online job fairs like as of today. So thank you Jobs 180 for hosting this. Next, so how do we hiring now, particularly in CDO? No, so first step would be applicants to submit their CVs via email or FB or website or Jobs 180, right? And then second step would be recruiters to paper screen and call prospective applicants for initial screening. So when we say initial screening, we talk about this includes the initial interview via phone and also online examinations. Next is once the applicant passed the initial phase or initial screening, recruiters to endorse to the department for virtual interviews. So it varies depending on the position you're applying for. So to dun sa how many stages of the interview will be done. If ever you pass all those stages, recruiters now to conduct background investigation. So for the background investigation, commonly our practice in CDO is to we call the direct superiors of the applicants from their past jobs or internship if hindi pa siya or fresh graduates. Next is, yeah, so if there are no red flags observed or received and also passed naman ni applicant lahat ng application screening, then we move to the preparation and the discussion of job offer. When the candidate accepted the offer and nag-sign na siya, we now share them the pre-employment requirements. So the current practice now is we accept yung mga scan copies via email, submitted via email, but then we'll be also requiring the physical or hard copies on their first day just to validate the documents. And on day one, onboarding. So that would be the deployment of the applicant. So as much as possible, all processes are being conducted online unless a face-to-face meeting is necessary. So usually, most of the time, candidates report to the office on their first day na. Yeah. Next would be, we go now to the challenges we're facing. So actually, we've cited lang one major problem that we think yung pinaka-challenge, no? So not all applicants have good tools needed in an online hiring process. So if you're an applicant and you don't have a laptop, a desktop to use, mobile phone, stable internet connection, then these things might hamper or affect your application process, no? So if then we go to the advantages. So as a recruiter, I really observed a great improvement in terms of the efficiency of hiring process. Now it became more convenient for both interviewers and interviewees because mas easier na mag-schedule ng interviews because most of the time every interviewers will be reporting to office or working from home, and not everyone will now be required to leave their comfort of their home, spend money for transportation fees, or yung iba, hindi na pwede yung complaint na traffic ako, sorry, I'm late, or walang masakyan. So, mas easier na siya ngayon. And lastly would be safe. So, it's the primary goal naman of shifting from traditional to digital, no, is to keep everyone as safe as possible. So, practicing this would be limiting yung exposure, physical exposure or contact with our employees as well as dun sa ating applicants. And also, CDO is laging in contact with our LGUs, the government, and the DOLE to comply with all the protocols they set. Next would be I'd like to share tips on how to prepare for virtual interviews. Yeah, so let's move to the tip number one, which is the most basic tip. Yeah, so do research. Please do research on the company or the position you're applying for because during interviews, it's important for us to know how interested you are in applying in our company. And this is being manifested on how well you know our company, the products and services we offer. So, actually, as a recruiter, I tend to use as a conversation starter yung why do you want to join CDO? How well do you know the company, or are you familiar with our products? And one experience that's very memorable for me is when an applicant answered, "I'm very fond of your products." And just to try, no, kung talagang familiar siya with the products, I've asked, sige, could you name top 3 of your products? However, unfortunately, he named a competitor's product. So it would be an automatic minus point for the applicant for obvious reasons. Yeah. And then, tip number 2, answer questions using experience. So, rather than giving hypothetical answers like, if that happens to me, I will do this, or I will do that. Instead, give answers like I can relate that scenario to a project I had in school back then or an extracurricular activity. In that way, we can assess better how you handle certain situations. So, also, for example, when asked na, could you give me or could you name some of your strengths? So you may answer, ma'am, I believe I have the ability to lead because back in college, I was elected as a student, as a president for student council, and I spearheaded most of the projects and it turned out successful. Also, pwede rin, ma'am, I'm good in time management because back in college, I was a part-time student and I was able to manage my academics and also my work. Yeah. Next would be tip number 3 would give your full attention. So give your 100% full attention during interview since you are at home. The common norm now is yan nga, virtual interviews. Make sure you find the most conducive place to have your online interview. And also, please inform your family members that you have a scheduled interview to avoid them having distract you or call you at the middle of the call. Other types of distractions may be if you have a pet, pwedeng yung tumatahol, o pag may kapatid ka, yung umiiyak, or even yung tunog ng TV or television. Because this may greatly affect your interview, once you're distracted, it may sometimes affect your answer as well. So make sure to give your full attention. Tip number 4, provide honest or sincere answers. As a recruiter, I really appreciate applicants who share their experiences and yung mga unsincere answers, no? Also, recruiters are trained to detect if you are telling the truth or lie. So, better to answer honestly kasi we tend to explore on that experience and minsan hindi na nagmamatch yung answers. And this way also, we can endorse you to a role that will fit your background or interests better. So just to share my experience, actually, CDO is my first job and I'm still currently employed with them. And when I started applying to CDO, I really wanted to join the recruitment team. However, during the progress of the interview, I was endorsed to a training specialist position under HR pa rin. During the final interview, I really expressed my intent that I really like to be part of recruitment. So after a couple of weeks, syempre, wala pa kasi that time na opening for under recruitment. After a couple of weeks, I received a call and yan. So umulit ako. I applied for the recruitment and luckily, yan, I was hired and this is how I started my recruitment career. Next is tip number 5, be presentable. So as mentioned by Sir Kim naman, yung mga pagpo-post sa resume link, ano yung mga gagamiting photos or videos, as well as this is applicable to virtual interviews. So don't use your pajamas or sleepwear kasi nasa bahay lang, nakalimutan mo na may interview ka, so you needed to magmadali. As much as possible, wear a smart casual. So, ano ba yung mga smart casual? Pwedeng blouse, pwedeng collared polo shirt, there. And also, it's also a way of telling the interviewer that you are very prepared for the meeting. This goes as well with the environment. So make sure to clean the area that can be seen in the video as it gives a good impression that you are organized. Tip number 6. Actually, yan. So, pinaka-basic, no? Be on time. Actually, dapat be early, no? Than the scheduled interview. Because it would give you an ample time or enough time to prepare and also test your audio, your video, or your internet connection prior the interview schedule. So, as I've mentioned then a while ago, many companies are using different platforms for the virtual interview. So, Skype, Google Meet, Zoom, yan. So, if fresh graduates hindi pa familiar with that, kindly explore and familiarize your self on the tools that you are to use. Yeah. So actually, part of my presentation is also to introduce CDO as well. It may, some of you might not be familiar with our company yet. So I'd like to share some information about our company. So just to give you a brief background, CDO is a food manufacturing company based in the Philippines. We have been in the industry for 45 years and CDO stands for Corazon Dairoong. That's the name of our founder. And we have manufacturing plants both here in Valenzuela and in Malbar, Batangas. We are composed of around 5,000 employees and we produce frozen processed meat, canned goods, dairy products, and baked goods. So I hope you are familiar with some of our products, which later on I'll be showing. So let me just read some of the information about the company. So a delicious success or a delicious story of success. From a simple dream of providing delicious food for her family, the CDO story has turned into a lifelong commitment of providing Filipinos with high quality and affordable products. For the mission, we champion mealtimes and unite families through food that calls them home. We live to bring them freshness and delight of mom-made cooking that fills their hearts. For the vision, we will be the most trusted food company, loved for how our food creations bring and bond all generations of people together. And for our values, we are passionate about customers and consumers. We have love for God. We have integrity. We are open and collaborative. We are innovative and entrepreneurial. So all our programs, all our business decisions are all anchored in the values that we have. There, so our products. So as mentioned, I'm showing you our products. I believe you're familiar with them. From hot dogs and sausages, breaded products, regular and Christmas hams, bacon, patties, marinated meats, native sausages, and Chinese deli. So common would be Fantastic Tocino, if you're familiar, Bibo hot dog, yung dumaan na yung Christmas season natin, so yung mga holiday ham, hamon de bola, I hope you had that on the Christmas Eve. Next, canned meats. We have corned beef, loaves and luncheon meats, canned tuna, bottled fish, canned mackerel. So sa amin yung San Marino, yung Highlands, some of you are not, yung iba nagugulat, sa inyo pala yung San Marino and Highlands. Yan, yes, sa amin yun. And we moved to our dairy products from slide cheese, cheese block, cheese balls to cheese spread, and sweet preserve. So, yung sweet sugar palm oil, yung CDO kaong, and also CDO nata de coco. Also, aside from CDO as a business, we have a non-profit organization called Odyssey Foundation that has 5 streams or programs. Gabay Nutrition, it's a supplemental feeding program to malnourished children. Gabay Edukasyon, Gabay Kalikasan, Gabay Hanap Buhay, and Gabay Lingkol. So, it's a response to the various needs of the company. So, for example, yung nagdaang Taal eruption or yung bagyong Rolly, yan. And also, I'd like to share some of our company initiatives towards sustainability. Wastewater treatment, recycling efforts, use of solar energy, and reduction of plastic usage. So, yeah, I think that would be the last slide of my presentation. So back lang din dito, we would want to be ambassadors in keeping our companies, our communities where we operate safe and clean. So if you want to contact us, here's our email address, our Facebook page, website, and our Jobs 180 site. So feel free to send your resumes, your application, your resume link, and also update your profiles and resume link every now and then through jobs180.com. Thank you for listening and keep safe, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Casey. Thank you for your talk about online applications. And of course, mention nyo na rin sa online applications. Kasama dito ang jobs180.com at ang ResumeLink. So I have here a few questions for you about yun nga, pag-apply online. What is your opinion dun sa mga nag-a-apply even if hindi sila perfect fit dun sa job ad? Sabi ng iba, apply lang ng apply. Sabi ng iba, swak dapat. Kayo po, anong masasabi niyo about it?
Alright, sige. So, actually, I've been a recruiter for 4 years now. So, from plant operations, supply chain, I really, most of the time, nakakamit ako, maraming applications for example, SAP Encoder. And hindi naman pala sila marunong sa SAP. So, actually, minsan when we shortlist, syempre, yung inuuna natin, prioritize would be yung mga may experience na with SAP. However, we're still open for those candidates would be, if not na hindi pa sila perfect fit for the position, some hiring managers really appreciate yung mga individuals na mas motivated, mas kailangan yung work, or mas hungry dun sa pagtuto or pagka-train for the SAP. So, yun. Hindi nagmamatter naman if pwede naman mag-apply kung sakaling wala pa talaga hindi pa kayo fit. Pero most of the time din minsan kapag biglaan nag-open yung position, I tend to go back to dun sa applications and review sino pa ba yung possible.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Casey. So, sa ating viewers, sana narinig nyo yun na even if hindi swak, apply nyo lang. Kasi although ma-prioritize siguro yung talagang fit na fit, there's a chance na ma-consider kayo and even after. So, Ms. Casey, in connection, dun sa halimbawa they applied for this one position, gaano katagal ang reasonable time na hintayin nila before they will be contacted dito sa position na in-applyan nila?
Okay, so to answer your question, when I interview kasi, I tend to give yung expectations of waiting time dun sa applicants para din yung iba kasi minsan di naman ako tinatawagan, maghanap ng ibang work. So nawawala na rin siya sa amin. So I tend to give time depending on the position and the level. So syempre pag managerial, maghihintay tayo availability of the managers or the president, no? Pero most of the time, to answer question na lang, for the rank and file position, siguro maximum would be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks after first interview to, Ms. Casey, clarify ko lang. Or 2
Sorry.
weeks after na ma-receive niya ang application?
Yeah, 2 weeks after receiving application.
Okay, sige. What about yung sa pag-follow up naman sa inyo, either sa application or after interview? Ano po masasabi nyo to our audience?
Mm. I highly encourage applicants to follow up yung kanilang applications. It's not a bad thing naman. So it's a good reminder din for the recruiters kasi recruiters are responsible then to go back to the applicants na na-touch din for the position para din hindi maghihintay. So I've been an applicant before. I highly appreciate those recruiters na binabalikan ka kahit nasabihin lang na, I'm sorry, you're not fit for the position yet. We'll just contact you again kapag may opening again. Parang ganun po.
Okay, so actually, isa yan sa naging issue ko when I was a fresh graduate na conscious ako kapag magpa-follow up ako thinking na ay baka masyado sila nakukulitan sa akin, baka nakakahiyang ma-bother ko sila. Pero to our viewers, wag niyo na po ako gayahin, wag niyo na pagdaanan, nakakapinagdaanan ng fresh grad ako. They actually appreciate pa nga even beyond yung tinatanggap lang ang pag-follow up. There's a level of appreciation then from the interviewer from yung HR natin. Sige. Miss Casey, I think that's all the time we have for the Q&A today. And well, hopefully we will have you back here with us para sa kung anumang topic, whether it's this or iba pang topic. We are glad to have you here para doon sa mga viewers that would want to learn more about the company ni Miss Casey. Go to jobs180.com/CDO. Nandiyan ang background ng kanilang company and also yung openings nila. You could find them there. So, Miss Casey, I would like to present to you a certificate of recognition. This certificate is presented to Cathy Claire Velasquez for imparting for valuable insights and expertise as resource speaker on online applications during the career orientation webinar given this 19th day of February 2021 at Central Mindanao University. Maraming bukid nun. Okay. So, Ms. Cathy, this certificate of recognition is for you. We will make an effort. Email na lang po namin itong e-certificate ninyo. So, this is a sign of appreciation both from Central Mindanao University, pero kami na rin. It's also a sign na we appreciate having you here. And hopefully,
Thank you,
have you
Jobs
here.
180.
Thank you. See you soon po.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Miss Casey with our first topic. And then now we could move on to our next topic. Our next topic is about interview tips. So it's related actually to sa talk ni Miss Casey. So this is a good topic to follow that. And actually na-touch niya na ng konti yung topic from her talk. Pero it will be more detailed, this talk from our speaker. To introduce our speaker, Michael Daryl Bonganay is one of Alorica's learning and development trainers. He took up Bachelor of Science in Psychology at La Consolacion College, Manila. He started out as a retail support agent in Alorica Meza in 2015 and became an acting trainer in his 7th month. He also has experience being a team leader early in his career. With his passion for training matched up with top performance, he sought the possibility to move up. He became a learning and development trainer in 2017, and he has been in the industry for 6 years and is currently the senior L&D trainer of the business vertical in Alorica, Cubao. That is primarily supporting 1 telecommunication and 4 technical support campaigns. Let's all welcome to the stage Mr. Michael Daryl Bunganay, trainer learning and development from Alorica, Philippines. Good morning, Sir Mike.
Good morning. Hello. I am live from our Cubao site. My name is Mike, so you can just call me Mike. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir. So I think naging successful naman ang ating first topic, and I hope we go on from there moving forward na ma-continue natin ang good start na ginawa ni Sir Kim and Miss Casey. So, Sir Mike, testing na po natin ang ating screen share.
Of course, of course. So here you go. Good morning, CMU. And today, of course, we're going to be expanding on Kathy's topic earlier on virtual interview tips. So
Okay.
this will be more detailed.
Sorry, Sir Mike. Sorry,
Yes.
I will be heading backstage na po. So you can continue with your talk. Your video and audio is fine, and your screen share is working. So I will just be back for the Q&A, and you can start as soon as I finish the sentence.
Of course. So, for our virtual interview tips, here we go. I just want to talk first and foremost about my journey because I've been in your position, looking for a job, excited to graduate, and really unaware of what to do in life or in looking for a position, looking for a job. So, my journey started out in utmost confusion. I was like wide-eyed deer looking for a job. I was unaware of what to do, so I went to a job fair in Trinoma, just here in Quezon City, and I was looking around, and I was taken in by one of those headhunters for Alorica. They took me. Kidnapped me, you could even say, in one of their white vans. So I was like half. Luckily, it wasn't that. They took me to their centrist site, and from there, I passed my initial interview, my final interview, and it was all done in just half a day. Now, of course, the situation is different now. Now being a more right, and that's why I'm going to talk to you about how we can successfully pass our virtual interviews. But of course, during that time, right now you might be wondering like how what's the first step, what do I do now, right? It's a little confusing nowadays, especially since it's now a different setup and all, right? But I of course set up a game plan for all of us to follow, and that would follow the 3 P's: plan, prepare, and perform. So let's start out with planning things out. Now, of course, we talked about Jobs 180, how to set up your online resume. So, yeah, your resume on paper is good and all, right? But let's go out with the old and in with the new, right? Jobs 180 is the way to go, definitely. Let's not just have a list of all of your educational achievements and all that. You want to go above and beyond, and definitely jobs 180 is the way to go. So when you are pointing out or when you are detailing your resume, right, it's pretty much every aspect about yourself that you want to show to your employers. So point out your skills, your experience, and all that. And once you have that planned out, you all, of course, have to do your research on the companies that you are going to be applying to, right? Research the company first and foremost. Good example with CDO earlier, right? I could relate my example when I was applying for Lorca. I did not know a thing about it, right? Because I was in a van. They just took me out of nowhere. But in between the time that I was waiting for the van to pick me up or to kidnap me, I was actually looking up the company. I was looking up its core values, what it believes, and what jobs they offer. Of course, Alorica being one of the top most outsourcing companies in the world right now, and an award-winning company, right? I knew that this was the company that I wanted to go for, right? So I decided to continue, and that's why I've been here for 5 years now, right? Overall, I've been working for 6. So I would say that the Lorica has been one of my best job experiences ever. Um, it's not just the company that you'd like to look up. You would also want to try to look up your interviewer, right? If you, let's say, are interviewed by someone, I'd suggest, definitely they'd be Googling, they'll be looking up Facebook for your name, right? Why not look up their names? Why not try to see what they're interested in and try to stalk, you could say, your interviewer and see who they are. And that could be a bit of an advantage. Plan your trip as well. If you're required to go on site, if you're required to visit the company physically, at least know where to go. So you are prepared for that. Now, of course, since most of our interviews will happen virtually, at least plan out, know the tools that you'll be using for the interview. Of course, if it's Google Meets or in Alorica's case, we use Microsoft Teams, at least be familiar with those tools. And of course, read the job description, see if it fits you, right? If it's the perfect company, if it's the perfect position for you, right? And try to memorize it or at least know it by heart. Because a goal without plan is just a wish, right? And really, in order to make wishes come true, you got to plan things out. So it could be a realistic goal, it could be a smart goal that we can all achieve. That's by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Now that we plan things out, let's prepare. So, what do we prepare, right? Prepare what exactly? You might be wondering. What do we prepare? Well, I got a simple list for you to remember as well, and that it's as easy as ABC. The ABCs of character development, because how you present yourself matters. So your appearance, your behavior, and the way that you communicate matters in an interview, whether that be a physical interview or a virtual interview. So to expand upon dressing professionally, smart, casual, and all that, right? Most companies require casual, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It's actually best that you present yourself in a more formal way, right? Polo shirt, perhaps a nice looking outfit, right? Nothing that's overly revealing, and make sure you look simple. Simple makeup, simple jewelry is best. You don't want to look like you're like this guy over here. Right? Where it's just, business on top and, it's just relaxation below. Now, there have been many accidents that have happened wherein, an interviewee stands up and then, oh, all of a sudden they're just wearing boxers, right? Or, oh, they're just wearing pajamas. We want to avoid any untoward incidents like so. So I would suggest that we look good, we feel good, your hair should be nice, you should freshen up before you start, and of course, start with a smile. Your appearance does matter, right? So show off your best self. Of course, you also want to do the same for your background because, you may look good, but if your background is like, oh, you're outside or, you're in you're in the toilet or something, it's going to give a bad impression because your background should reflect your personality. So look at this background. You can see some books. So this person is a reader, is very smart. You'll notice that they have dogs. And you might notice that they're also really into aesthetic, right? So I would say that if you are to set up your background, make sure to set it up in a way that highlights your best characters, your best characteristics, rather. Okay, you could make it neutral, of course, too, to make it to really put the focus on you. But that's my suggestion when setting up a background. Don't make it too messy. Make it nice and clean, nice and sharp. Your behavior should also mirror your appearance because it's not just about good behavior and all that. It's not just outer beauty. You also have to highlight your inner beauty as well. So some behavior tips for you is to build connections. Remember, it's not just about your competencies and your educational background. That's not just the only topics that you can talk about. You can also talk about other things. Build a little bit of rapport, right? Start out by asking, oh, how's your day today? Talk about your day. Talk a little bit about yourself outside of work because you got to realize that this person might be someone that you'll be working with in the future. So who knows, right? So at least they have an idea of how you are as a person. Follow their lead. Remember, your interviewer is still in charge of the conversation. So follow their lead, respect their time. And of course, if they're talking, listen to what they have to say. But remember, communication is not just one-sided because some of you might think an interview is, just someone asking you questions and you answering them. No, that would be akin to an interrogation. But this is not an interrogation, guys. You can ask questions as well, right? You too can show interest by asking these questions. I remember back then when I was being interviewed for my learning development position here in Alorica, right? I asked a lot of questions. Actually, more than 50% of the time that we were there, I was the one asking questions. Now, why did I do that? Because I knew that by asking those questions, first and foremost, I can find out more about the position, right? So even if I didn't make it that moment, I could reapply again and with the knowledge that I have from the first interview. So that's one. And second, to showcase to the interviewers that, hey, I'm very much interested in this position. I'm very much interested in what you're doing. So that's what asking questions shows. So that's what we should do. Remember, it's an interview, yes, but you could treat it more like a conversation. Stay calm, relax. As I always say, confidence isn't just what you feel, it's what you show. Because deep down inside, you may be nervous and all, but if you show confidence, right, just remember, trust that you know what you know. And the interviewer will take on a flow of its own. That's from Deborah Shane, an author, motivational speaker, and life coach. And she's absolutely right. Just let it flow, let it go and flow. So, of course, you got to show kindness, right? Show absolute kindness, like show the best qualities about yourself, best foot forward and all. But remember, let's not fake it. Let's not fake that kindness. Let's not fake those good behaviors, because a person can really tell. It's really easy for us to tell whether you're lying or not. You got to be your genuine self. It's a bit of a cliche to say be yourself, but it's absolutely true, right? Be yourself, be your best absolute self during an interview, right? And a lot of interview questions, if you hear are some of the cliches, some of the basic ones that you might have found when researching online. And let me just tell you guys, a lot of our interviewers are aware that you research the answer to these questions. So I want us to watch out for what we call your generic answers. Tell me a little bit about yourself. So a lot of people will talk about their hobbies and interests. Now that's all fine, but if you really want to get to the meat of the matter, talk about interests and hobbies and competencies that relate to the company that you're applying for. So if you're applying for IT, for example, you talk about some of the development that you've been doing on let's say programming, stuff like that. If you're applying as an agent here or a trainer here in Alorica, you might want to talk about your interests that would relate to that. Your strengths, definitely something that would relate to this. But one other thing I want to point out when highlighting your strengths is let's not just use descriptors, right? To talk about yourself like, oh, I'm a hard worker. I'm flexible with time. What does that actually mean when you say you're a hard worker? It doesn't mean anything unless you could demonstrate it. Show, don't tell. Don't just simply tell the interviewer what you are as a person. You have to give examples, like palpable, tangible examples. I'm a hard worker because back then when I was working on a thesis, I was the leader of the project. I did almost like 80% of the work while my teammates did the other 20%, right? So that also shows that you're a leader. If you're asked about your weaknesses, well, you be honest and you point out about your weaknesses, but not just that, you point out some strategies on how you were able to overcome that. I remember back then I pointed out that when I was in high school, when I was in college, I wouldn't be no, not college actually. With college I was pretty good, but in high school I was really bad at in fact. Right. But then I pointed out that when it came to college, though, I took it a lot more seriously and I never missed a single day and I was never late. And that's true up to this day. Right. I was never late, never absent, very few. And so if you're going to point out a weakness, point out a way that you overcame it. And of course, point out what makes you unique as a candidate. If you're asked, why should we hire you? And of course, if you're to see yourself in the next 5 years, don't short sell yourself, right? Remember, 5 years is a long time, right? Find out what would be a position higher than the one that you're applying to, and that's what you would go for when you're asked this question. And of course, when you're asked why you want the job, you point out not just the money, right? Not just the aspect of you supporting your family. We hear that all the time, right? I've interviewed people. That's the answer I hear all the time. What I want to hear is something beyond money, something beyond supporting your family. I want to hear your passion for the job. I want to hear that you really care about what we're doing here. And that's how we best answer those usual interview questions. So, how do we communicate that? Communication skills wise, it's also important that we highlight, of course, if you see here, highlight how communication works. 38% of communication is through your voice, 7% is words, and 55 is body language. So a lot of our communication happens through our body, right? Of course, in a virtual setup, if the camera is on, stare right at the camera. Don't stare down at your image like, hi, I'm very small, right? I could see myself. Or at least, your notes, stare at the camera. Use hand movements. Posture is also important. If we slouch, it's going to make us seem a little lazy, a little, a little, a little bored even. So at least show confidence and engagement in the way that we speak, and not just that, in the way that we present ourselves, the way we show ourselves. It's not what you say that matters, it's how you say it as well. So that's why voice is a lot more significant, a lot more important than your words. So, some more tips for that is to become an engaged listener as well as an engaged speaker, because listening also matters, because communication goes two ways. It's not just one sided, right? Just like our relationships, you don't want a relationship that's one sided. You want there to be some form of give and take, some form of reciprocation. Pay attention to the person's nonverbal cues. You could see the interview as well. You could see if they're really engaged. They would lean a little forward, right? And also mind your verbal signals as well. Use open gestures. Open gestures show that you are confident, that you are there, and that you are really open to what they're saying. So if we use more closed gestures, it would mean we're a bit vulnerable, we're a bit nervous. So sit up straight, right? Hands right, use your hands, use gestures, and of course use gestures with purpose. Don't just wail about your hands, without any meaning, like ooh. No, you got to give it purpose. And keep stress in check, just relax. Treat it more like a conversation than an interview, a conversation with an old friend that you're catching up with. And assert yourself. Remind yourself every day of the passion, of what makes you passionate about life, what makes you passionate about working, what is your passion. Always assert that you are great in whatever you do. I remember when I was your age, I remember when I was in college, I felt like I wasn't good at anything. But Kim, right? I remember Sir Kim said, that's not true. Everybody has something that they're good at. So it's just a matter of finding out what we're good at. And before anything else, preparation is indeed the key to success, Alexander Graham Bell. So now that we're prepared, let's now perform. It's showtime. The day itself, this is the time that we perform. So remember, do a quick test run before you start. So test your technology, your webcam if it works well, your mic if it works well. Do a quick test run. You could even call a friend on your PC or your phone or whatever you're using to interview on, Skype or Teams or whatnot. Be early, right? Being on time is actually late. If your interview is set at 10 and you came in at 9:59, that's not going to make a good impression. What would make a better impression is if you come in and said, oh, I was here since 9:30. I was actually preparing. I was going through my notes and I was doing some research beforehand, right? That gives a better impression that you are more prepared you are more prepared to perform. And of course, each interview would last around 15 minutes or so. Virtual interviews a little shorter at 10 minutes. So make your message quick, make it concise, and make it matter, right? And of course, seal the deal. Leave a lasting impression, because you have a lot of competitors, you have a lot of applicants who are also eyeing for those positions. So remember, show what makes you unique as an individual, and that's what companies will vie for. And that's a 3-step plan. That's a 3-step those are the 3 steps that we can follow in order to pass our virtual interviews. So, as a quick reminder, let's make sure to appear professional and neat, behave as a representative of the company. So, assume that you're already part of the company. How would you behave? And of course, communicate as clearly and concisely as you can. So, remember the character that we project. And don't forget, you tell them what you're going to tell them and tell them what you told them. So, always reiterate the best characteristics that you have that's best suited for the job, right? So, if let's say you're applying for a certain job, make sure that you keep on repeating the best aspects about yourself. And that's what I just told you. So follow us at Alorica PH if you want to find out more. And of course, if you are looking for a job, check out Jobs 180 as well. And yeah, just hit us up, look us up. We have a site in Alorica, Davao, so that might be something that you may be interested in, right? So again, we are one of the best BPO companies in the Philippines. We are award winning. We were even the BPO of 2019 and 2020. We also won a lot of awards. So if you're really looking for a stable company, right? And not just a stable company, but a company that grows, that offers opportunities, that rewards your passion, right? If you perform well, we reward that as well. And with all of the possibilities that we have available. There you go. And that concludes my talk, my TED Talk. Hi, my name is Mike. So do you have any questions?
Thank you,
Have any
Sir Mike.
questions?
Yes,
Yes.
actually, we have a question from the audience. We will flash
Oh,
it
yeah.
on the screen, and I will read it to you. This one's from Pierre Praca Jr. If the male fresh grad presents himself in virtual interview, having long hair, should he cut his hair to look presentable or just organize his hair neatly?
Very good question. Very good question. Of course, a lot of interviews. I mean, back then there was a little more of a taboo when it comes to stuff like tattoos or jewelry and whatnot, or piercings, or even long hair. Like I have long hair right now. That's because I haven't cut my hair ever since the lockdown started, and I kept it long. I'd say I've hired people, a lot of people in Alorica, not based on all of that, but based on their competency. So yes, definitely just look neat, look presentable in the way that you dress. If you have, I mean, if you have tattoos, don't be afraid about companies turning away because of that, right? If your competencies, if your education speaks louder than that, I think it really shows that. Yeah, I think that really would be a benefit. Yeah, but always do a little background check of the company. Like if they're a little more conservative, you may want to consider adjusting to that, right? Like if you have tattoos, you might want to hide that. But for sure, Alorica is really open to stuff like that. So I would say companies are more open to people or to those sort of ways that yeah, to long hair and whatnot. Those sort of ways that we present ourselves. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sir Mike. So to our viewers, it's really important to do your research again and again. Sir Mike emphasizes that even up until how you should fix your hair, it's still related to that. So we have here another question
Oh yes.
from Noel Mergate. Would it be unpleasant if the applicant is trying to hold with him or her a copy of his or her resume or other documents? Thank you.
So you mean like to say like hold it physically? Because of course in a virtual setting you would send it virtually. Well, when it comes to on-site, because I've handled interviews as well. Yeah, a lot of people would hold documents and whatnot. So I'm trying to look for a document right now, and yeah. So let's say you're holding it like this, right? It makes us seem a little nervous, and again, close positions, it makes us feel vulnerable if we do this all the time, if we hold something. So I would suggest that we put things down. Fidgeting using your hands can make a person appear nervous, especially to an interviewer. So let's not fidget or hold things while we're talking, okay, or while we're talking during an interview. So
Okay.
put your resume down.
Okay, so we have another question from the same person from the guidance center. What was the worst disappointment you had with an applicant online?
With an applicant online. So far, I've been mostly handling virtual classes, not really applicants online. I'm part of the training team, but I've handled interviews way back when I was part of operations, when I was still in my retail account. And I'd say the worst disappointment I've had was finding out in the future that an applicant lied to me. Like,
Mm, mm.
he lied about his job experience. He said that he was a vendor for fish balls for like 2 years, even though he was actually with a previous company, and he was actually just lying about it to cover up his past mistakes. So when I found that out when he left, and I was like, oh, if I knew that at the very start, I wouldn't have accepted him. So that's my greatest disappointment. And he was my trainee back in the day. So I only found out like way after he left.
Mm, okay. So
Yeah, and
lying is
yeah, he seemed like
always a
a guy.
disappointment for HR. In connection with that, Sir Mike, I would like to ask: are there ways, or how are you able to identify if the applicant is not being honest during the interview? So I guess in your example, nakalusot siya, but sometimes I'm sure you're able to identify it during the
Oh,
interview.
definitely, I learned from then that looking really into your applicants is best. Like, not just going through the resume or going through Jobs 180, but really looking at their social media profile, if they're telling the truth, if that's the way they communicate. Interviewers nowadays do go through your social media account, so definitely monitor what you post. Right, think before you post. And yeah, because if you post some things about your previous companies, um, we note that. We take note of that.
Yes.
And of course, cues like if like nonverbal cues also matter. Like, I can tell sometimes if a person is lying just based on the sound of their voice or just by the way that they speak, right? And I've seen that as well in my virtual classes. Like, oh, why weren't you here on time? And then they'll just make up an excuse. But then when I talk to them in private, or I give them a private conversation, I find out that they weren't being totally honest with me. So definitely, we can tell. Not 100%, of course, but we could tell if someone is being a little untrustworthy, and that would give an even more bad impression if that were found out. So let's not even try. Let's not even try to lie about our resume. About don't just lie about yourself just to put one foot on the door. No, that's not going to get you anywhere. Right? Start small. If you can't apply to something to the company that because of your credentials and whatnot, don't lie about your credentials. Gain more experience, and that way you will and gain more experience. Have a good attitude, and that way you'll get far. All right.
Okay. So our viewers, even our HR knows how to use Google as well. We can search you. We say always research the company. Of course, we can do that as well. We know how to use your browser. We know how to use Google. So we see what you post. So maybe we see a post of yours that you're bashing your previous company. That's always a bad thing to see from an HR perspective. Maybe later on you'll have an issue with our company. So be aware of what you post online as well. So, Sir Mike, what are your other red flags aside from the lying and then from seeing them maybe bash their previous company? What are the things you look out for? And once you see it, it's almost game over for the applicant.
Well, a lot of the applicants that I used to handle are totally new to the industry, or even fresh grads, or folks who are just totally new at working in general. So when it comes to red flags, it's more on, let's say, behavioral and communication the behavioral communication aspects. Of course, our job is mostly what talking to Americans, talking to British people, talking on the phone. So that's one thing that I'm looking for is are people who can communicate their ideas well, who can communicate in English well, right? So I think to extend that to many other fields, right? They will. The interviewer that you're going to be speaking to will be testing you on your competencies, right? I like how I think Kathy, asked the question, what are your top three favorite products of CDO,
Yeah.
as a way to test that out. So to show that you've done your research and you know the company, but unfortunately that person failed that test. So I all throughout the interview, I'll be testing the interviewee out, and really when it comes to red flags, it would be mostly based on communication skills. That's my focus, and of course for behavior. Because here in the BPO industry, we have what we call hoppers, grasshoppers, hopping
Yeah.
from one company to another, right? That's an unfortunate thing. And guys, nowadays, you are the youth of the nation. If you really want to go far, hopping around from company to company won't help out. Looking for greener pastures, unless of course you really found a great opportunity. That's will totally respect that. But if it's just you just want to go from one company to another because of some minor things or some minor inconveniences, that's not going to help out your career. Staying in a company, finding fertile soil to root yourself in matters, right? It matters. So I found my roots. I found a place that I can root myself to, and that's why I was able to grow my career. So I look for people who will stay in the company for a very long time, right? So if I ask questions like, oh, do you plan to what do you see, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and their answer is something like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna still be here after 5 years. I may, if I'm going to be here. If I'm gonna still be here, I'm gonna make sure that I'll do my job well. That assumes that you're not gonna be here. So we're
So there's a
looking.
chance you're
Yeah,
already thinking about leaving just from
you're
the start.
just
Actually, Sir Mike, that's a problem that we face. I think our generation, we're getting notorious for hopping around in jobs. I'm not sure if that will be a problem with the next generation, with our graduates soon. But us, from my batch and the batches shortly after I graduated, well,
mm,
we are known for having, oh, this person doesn't last in our company 1 2 years, just here to get experience. So that's our impression, and hopefully this will change during the next generation's time after our graduates. So Mike, I have here one last question. This
yes,
one
please.
is from Ms. Jonalyn Basilio. This is related to your communication, your comment, your answer earlier. Is it really necessary to speak in English during job interview?
Is it really necessary for certain jobs, for certain positions? Yes. Again, for BPO, the BPO industry, for call centers, it's a definite yes to speak in English during the job interview. Because here in Alorca, just to share, on the initial interview, that's what we are assessing your communication skills in the English language. Now, of course, if your position or the job that you are applying to is of a different industry, of a different of something else, it's okay if you're more comfortable in speaking in Taglish or in Filipino. That will be fine. Of course, again, do your background research. Would it be fine for you to do so, to speak in English, right, during an interview or not? You find that out, right? So again, I remember when I did my interview, I just spoke straight English, of course. Yeah, when you're not talking to customers, when you're not talking to interviewers, we're always speaking Filipino here in the office. So remember, just be comfortable in the language that you're speaking in. Just be comfortable in your own skin. Just be comfortable when you're in an interview. Okay.
Okay.
I
So,
hope.
Miss Jonalyn, learn more about the industry. You don't have to speak in straight English in some jobs, but of course, in like Sir Mike mentioned in Alorica, Philippines. It's necessary pretty much. So I think that's all the time we have, Sir Mike. If
Thank you.
well, please visit their Jobs 180 page, jobs180.com/Alorica Philippines. You could see it underneath your screen scrolling. Yes, there it is.
There,
So visit their Jobs 180 site, look at their company profile, look at their job openings. So it's all there.
Facebook,
So, Sir
Instagram.
Mike,
Oh,
I
yep.
would like to present to you your e-certificate. This
Hey,
certificate is presented to Michael David Bunganay for imparting his valuable insights and expertise as resource speaker on job interview tips during the career orientation webinar given this 19th day of February at Central Mindanao University, Musuan, Maramag, Bukidnon. So
thank you
this
so
is
very much.
your e-certificate, and we will be sending this to you. Yes, and as mentioned earlier to Miss Casey, this certificate of recognition and appreciation is not just from CMU. Well, maybe the certificate is from them, but I also want to extend our appreciation from Jobs 180 to you. So thank you, Sir Mike. Hope to have you again soon.
Yes, hope I see you again soon too, Robert. Thank you very much for having me, Jobs 180 and CMU. Appreciate the time and goodbye. This is Mike signing off.
Okay, that was Sir Mike. Now let's move on to our last topic. So, this is our fourth topic for today, and then we will be covering the topic on developing a strong work ethic. So, well, if you could see the pattern kung paano tayo gumagalaw, we started with your application and then we looked into interview. Ito, developing a strong work ethic could be how you would be acting kapag nasa job ka na. But actually, even before, develop nyo na. So to introduce our speaker, he's a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Notre Dame University. He is a registered nurse who ventured into the BPO world in 2011 as a customer service representative. During the early years of his career, he entered VXI with perseverance and was hired as a training specialist. He also scouted other BPO companies and handled the recruitment team for Visayas Mindanao. With his dedication and comparable skills, he went back to VXI to pursue greater career opportunities. As what the tagline says, be home with VXI. Let's all welcome Mr. Carl Benedict Salgado, Talent Acquisition Officer from VXI Global Holdings. Good morning, Sir Carl. Sir Carl, I think you are on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry, Robert. So, good morning and good morning to all our listeners from CMU. My name is Carl. You can call me Kaloy. People in the BPO industry, that's how they call me. Just plain Kaloy. You don't have to call me sir or anything like that. I will be discussing developing work ethics for all of you. So once you start working, um, once you graduate and start working, these are the things that you have to work on for you to, to succeed and for you to gain promotion and all that stuff.
Okay, so let's move forward to your presentation, na, sir. I sorry,
Mhm.
Kaloy, as you mentioned. Let's start with the share screen, and then once it's up, since your audio and video is clear, we could start na pag once we see your presentation and once it's in full screen to our audience. Well, Sir Kaloy is sharing his presentation. Thank you for asking your questions earlier. Magtanong pa kayo. And as you saw dun sa previous speakers, kapag may nakita kami sa comments, tinatanong namin flash the screen directly to the speaker. So, sir, I can see your presentation. Your audio and video is fine. I will be backstage and be back for the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Okay. So right, thank you, Robert. Guys, again, good morning. My name is Kaloy again. So I will be discussing your work ethics with you. Okay, so when you start working, you would have to develop certain character traits for you to succeed in your chosen profession. It could be your your career based on what you are taking at school. It could be in the BPO industry. It could be anything. But these are some of the tips that you can use to improve your chances of succeeding in your chosen career. Okay, so work ethics. What is work ethic? So that's the first thing that we have to identify or to take note of. So if you can see in this slide, you are able to see a lot of words. So these words are all related to work ethic. So we have success, we have responsibility, we have moral, we have strategy, dedication, so on and so forth. There are a lot of words. So these are some of the most common words that come into mind when you hear the word work ethics. And for us to further understand what work ethics is, we have to dissect the two terms or the term itself. So it's divided into two words. So first would be this one. So work, you all know what work is, right? So, according to Merriam-Webster, work is an activity in which one exerts strength or faculties to do or perform something. So, it could be an activity that a person engages in to earn a livelihood. It could be a specific task, duty, function, or assignment, often being a part or phase of some larger activity. So, guys, work, most of the time, it is something that we do to earn a livelihood. So, for example, when we graduate, we would look for work. Most of the time, the reason why we are looking for work would be for us to have means to sustain our living, right? So, it's to earn a livelihood. But work isn't really just about earning a livelihood. As students, you are also working. You're working on your thesis. As long as you are doing something with an objective or with something in mind, like to complete it or to be successful in it, so that could be considered work. Okay, so the next term is ethics. Ethics, it's a term that goes hand in hand with the word morals. Okay, so ethics and morals, they both relate to right and wrong. So that's ethics and moral. So while they are sometimes used interchangeably, they are really different. Most of the time, ethics is something that refers to rules provided by an external source. For example, when you are in your workplace, these are codes of conduct that are followed in your workplace, or it could be principles in your religions. Let's say you're a Christian, or let's say you're a Muslim. These are This is ethics. While morality or morals, they usually refer to your point of view on what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so that's ethics and morals. Um, it is important to understand that what's ethical isn't always moral. For example, um, in the mafia, they have what they term or what they call omerta. So it's the what you call it, it's a code of silence that they develop in the mafia. So it could be used to save, like for example, if they have people that they know of in the mafia that did a crime, so they are supposed to keep quiet about it. So in their organization, it's ethical. But when we look at it from an outsider's point of view, it could be morally incorrect. It's the same thing with the Japanese samurais before. So harakiri, it could be ethical for them because it's self-sacrifice. It's done if they lost to someone, if they lost their honor and so on. It could be ethical to them, but it's not morally right because you're taking your own life. Okay. And another thing would be um like the boxers ethics. Boxers would punch each other around. It's not morally correct, but then it's ethics. It's ethical in their line of work. Okay. So another thing, morality. What I'm explaining to you earlier, ethical is not always morally correct. It's also the other way around. So what is morally right can not be always ethically correct. For example, a lawyer. So if a lawyer is working on a case, let's say he is working on a murder case and he is defending the murderer, the one accused of murder. Um, if the lawyer found out that the murderer was really the one who conducted or did the crime, and then he tells the judge during the hearing, he tells the judge that the one that he is defending is guilty. Morally, he is correct because he knows that the crime was done. He knows that the person he is defending is the murderer. So he just wanted to make sure that the sorry guys, that the people or that the person responsible would have to face justice, right? But ethically, it is incorrect because as lawyers, they are honor bound to protect their clients regardless of what they did or what they will be doing, right? So that's ethics and morality. So when we put them together, we have work ethics. Okay, so now, how to develop your work ethics, guys? To be successful in your career, there are multiple ways to that we are looking at. So the most important things are your occupational skills. So the skills that you have for your chosen job or your chosen vocation. If you are a nurse, so that would mean your skills in the delivery room, your skills in the operating room, so on and so forth. But that's not all there is to it. If you are working, skills are not um, just the things that they are looking for. For example, if you are a basketball player, let's say you are as good as Michael Jordan, you can dunk from the free throw line and whatnot, right? But if you do not have good work ethics, for example, you do not show up in practice, you have beef with all the other players. So that could be something that would work against you even if you are the best player there is. Okay. So the following that I'm going to present are 7 areas of work ethics that you can work on. So these are traits and performance standards that you can check. So first, attendance. I know you you are all aware of the term attendance because even in school, since we started school like in kindergarten, that's something that was introduced to us. So attendance, you are required to be present. So guys, when you are employed, the first thing is that you are paid. You are paid, and if you are being paid, then you are required to be present. So, and if you want to succeed, 80% of your success is showing up. Okay, and when we talk about attendance, it's not just about being there, being present physically. It's also about being prepared for work. Let's say your shift starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 5 p.m. You arrive in the office at exactly 8 a.m., but your tools are yet to be pulled up. You are not yet prepared. You haven't taken your breakfast yet. So that is something that can be counted against you by your employers. Okay, so the first thing that you really have to take note of when you start working would be your attendance, because if you have good attendance, guys, remember this: you would be your dependability will rise in the eyes of your employers, in the eyes of your workmates, thus increasing your reliability. That means people will rely on you more, and when people rely on you more, that would increase your marketability. That means you would have higher chance to get promotion or to be invited to other department by other department heads. Okay? So the next thing that we have to work on would be our character. So there are a lot of character traits that will help us achieve or achieve success in our chosen profession. But these are some examples only. First would be loyalty. So guys, when you start working, your employers will expect that you will be goodwill ambassadors and salespeople for their company. Um, and also, by the way, when you start working, that means you are putting your allegiance, or you are showing to the world that you are aligning yourself with the company that you are working for. So, guys, if you feel that you cannot be faithful to your company, if you feel that you cannot be loyal to the company that you are working for in the future, then I would suggest you look for another company, because a company would really want you to be loyal to them. Okay. So, next would be honesty. So, guys, honesty, it was discussed by the previous speaker. So never lie on your application. It's the same when you start working. So you should never lie on your timesheet. For example, you come in at 9 a.m., but your shift was supposed to be 8 a.m., but on your time card you put in 8 a.m. That's a big no-no. That's considered fraud, and you can lose your job for that. Okay? Don't lie about expenses. So sometimes when you start working, you are given a lot of funds to spend for the company. So, guys, never ever cheat or never ever lie on the expenses, because you're not just putting yourself in into trouble. You're also you're also dragging the company down financially. Next, never cheat. Never cheat your customers, never cheat your workmates, your associates, and never cheat your employers. Always be honest, guys. And remember, honesty is not always about taking something which isn't yours. Sometimes it's even about um, doing things that is required of you in your whole shift, and so on. So that's honesty. Using the company telephone for personal calls, checking your email during, or your personal email during your work time, or texting during your work schedule, that could be considered dishonesty. So please refrain from doing that. Next would be initiative. So try to, guys, when you start working, try to always strike first. So when you see that there is something that you can do for your employer, for your work, so try to strike first. That's considered a good trait, that is initiative. So try to be motivated, be enthusiastic with everything, be industrious, and lastly, be hardworking. We go to the last two character traits, which is dependability and accountability. Dependability means that other people can depend on you. So try to be more trustworthy and reliable. So you can do this by following the different character traits that we discussed earlier, like loyalty, honesty, and initiative. And as much as you can, guys, when you start working, try to support others, people who start after you, or like, let's say, novices. Try to support them. Try to support your leaders. Try to support your boss as much as you can. Lastly, accountability. So, guys, when you do something for your work, try to be answerable to it. I have previous colleagues. When they do mistakes, or when they commit mistakes, they try to transfer the blame to other people. So don't be like that, because at the end of the day, you would lose the trust of the company, because eventually they would know what really transpired. So when you do something, make sure that you are accountable for it, that you are responsible for it. And don't worry, guys, accountability is not just being answerable to mistakes. It's also about being there to receive glory when some of the things you did go right. Okay? So when you are accountable for all your deeds, for all your tasks, then if it succeeds, then that goes to you. Okay. Next item to develop would be your appearance. Out of all the things that I have discussed, or that I will be discussing, I think appearance is the easiest way to develop, or it's the easiest trait to develop when you start working. So, guys, I know there's a saying that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but it's not always the case, especially when you start working, because when you start working, people around you, they would tend to form opinion about, or they would tend to form opinion based on your smell, based on your appearance, your cleanliness, and your mannerisms. So try to work on your appearance as much as you can. um So guys, proper appearance, it really, or proper attire, because if you can see here, there's the attires of the girl and the guy. The proper attire, it would really depend on the industry that you are working for nurses, it would be scrub suits. For doctors, the same. For people working in the corporate world, they would be wearing corporate attire. Engineers would have to wear their helmets and whatnot. So it would really depend. What matters is that you are clean, that you are well groomed, and that you are exhibiting good manners. So some tips, guys, if you start working, try to make sure that you are always wearing clean clothes. Try to make it simple. Avoid overdressing. There are some people, especially those who have just started working, they would think that overdressing is okay. So guys, it's a big no-no. As much as possible, try to make your look simple. um Also, wear subtle scents. It's always good to smell nice, but try not try to avoid overpowering scents. So just use subtle scents. Trim your nails as much as you can. Make sure that you always have clean nails. So that's something that people would look at as well. So that can help you out in your work. So well groomed hair is also a must. Guys, earlier with the previous speaker, someone asked if they should cut their hair when they are applying for a job. Again, I would repeat what he said. I guess right now it's already okay to have long hair, unlike before. The same with tattoos and so on and so forth. But as much as possible, even though you have long hair, try to make sure that it's clean and that it's well groomed. Okay, next item would be your attitude. So guys, attitude is something that could really affect your employment. Employers, they really don't like people who are pessimist, who are negative about everything. So if you start working, try to look at this illustration. So this is a principle. It's not it's a life principle. So it's how you look at things. So if there is a glass and it's filled halfway with, let's say, with juice or with water, so how you look at it would really tell a lot about your personality. So if you would say it's half full, then that means you're an optimistic person. If you say it's half empty, then you are only looking at the negative things in life. Okay, so when you start working, demonstrate a positive attitude. Try to be confident at all times, and guys, accept constructive criticism. No one is perfect. Sometimes you would make mistakes, and if people point that out, try to accept it constructively, and yeah, work on it so that you will become better the next time. Set realistic expectations and have realistic expectations of yourself. If you know that you are not yet capable of doing a certain job, even though you are really optimistic that you can do it well, try to avoid it, because you really have to set expectations of yourself still. Okay, so next item, if you can see here, attitude. I I added this slide because I think this really symbolizes the present age right now. Our attitude isn't only shown when we interact with others physically, but it is also being shown when we connect to them in the social media platforms and when we talk to them virtually. Okay. So next item, teamwork and cooperation. So guys, when you start working, most of the time you would work with a team. There are people that you are working for. There are people that you will be working with. There are people that would work under you. Okay. So when you work, forming teamwork and making sure that everyone is cooperating is something that can be used for your success. So convey a willingness to assist others. So try to, as much as you can, show people that you are open to assist them at all times, so that if they would need help, they wouldn't hesitate to approach you. Follow the chain of command in resolving conflicts, display your leadership skills, respect the right of others. Guys, when you are in a team, as much as you would want things to go your way, please listen to what others would say, listen to whatever reservations they would have with your decisions or with the decisions of the team, so that you can work with them to tackle the issues, or to make sure that you are able to do what you are planning to do, or your objectives. Build rapport. Try to build relationship with your teammates, not just in a superficial level, not just with, hi, my name is Carl, not just like that. Try to talk to them, try to really find out who they are, and so on. And foster commitment and team spirit. So team spirit, guys, it's not just it doesn't start with the whole group immediately. So it should start individually. So if you are expecting a team to have a cooperative spirit, so it should start with each individual. So it should start with you. Okay. Next item to work on would be time management and your organization skills. So guys, when you start working, you should manage your time properly. Okay. When you are given a 1 hour break, make sure that it's just 1 hour. And if you are given tasks, so try to finish your task as early as possible, without any delays, so that it wouldn't pile up in the future. Okay. What could help with time management, organization skills would be to have a calendar with you, something that you can look at any time, or to have your very own timetable. So that can be really helpful when you start working. And also try to be organized. The things in your office, everything should be organized, so that it would take you less time to find the things that you are looking for. A clock would be nice. If you are in front of a computer, then there's no problem about having a clock. Yeah, basically that's it. So work on your time management and organizational skills. And also, guys, when you are starting to work, you would find it hard to develop your organizational skills, because you do not know where things are, you do not know how things work. So if that's the case, try to ask people for help, because that's why they are there. Okay. So no one started in any industry perfect. So when they started, they would always try to ask people how things are done, how or where things are located. So don't hesitate to ask. That would really help you a lot. Okay. So next item, just give me a minute. Okay. So next would be communication. I guess this is the last item. So communication. This was also partly discussed by the previous speaker. So we have a lot of items under communication. We have body language, we have voice tone, we have words, listening skills, and empathy, as well as email etiquette. The first three, if you can see here, the body language, the voice tone, and the words, these are the most important when you are working in any industry. So, as what he said earlier, so body language comprises around 55% of whatever or what people would see when you are communicating. Okay. So, guys, when you are communicating with other people, I guess body language is really the most important one. So, try to always have, a body language that shows that you are willing to help, that you are an approachable person. So, that would really help you. And for me, the best way to communicate with other people through your body language would be to smile. Smile every time. When you are talking to someone, smile. When you are speaking over the phone and talking to someone over the phone, also smile because your tone it would change when you are smiling compared to when you are not. Okay. Next would be the voice tone. So we have three types of voice tones. So we have the neutral voice tone. We have a positive voice tone and a negative voice tone. So as much as possible, try to have a positive voice tone. Whenever you are speaking, try to use emphasis on terms that would relay positivity. That that could let other people see how positive you are, or how optimistic you are. And when talking, when we are still in the voice tone, when talking to other people, guys, meet the pace of the person that you are talking with. If they are talking slowly, try to slow things down a little. If they are talking way too fast, try to fasten your pace as well, or to increase your pace as well. Okay, next would be words. Use positive phrasing. Make sure that you have the right words to use. And also, guys, avoid jargons. Jargons are a no-no, especially when you are talking to someone who is not of the same industry. For example, I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse, and if I talk to someone, let's say a person who doesn't have any idea about nursing, any idea about any terms in the hospital, and they tell them that, hey, you have to go to the hospital because I think you have myocardial infarction. Guys, they won't know what MI is because they did not study it, they did not learn it. So as much as possible, try to avoid jargons. Make sure that you're using words on the same level of the person you are talking with. Okay. I put these things, listening skills and empathy, as well as email etiquette, although they are not really among the three major components of communication. But I guess these are the things that you have to know, because these are things that could help you with when you are developing your work ethics. So listening skills, try to listen to other people as much as you can. Try to be empathetic, try to empathize with them, try to wear their shoes, look at it at their point of view, look at things at their point of view. So do that. And email etiquette, guys. Right now, since most of the people are working from home, and the major means of communication would be through emails. So when sending reports, you would send it through emails, so on and so forth. Try to practice good email etiquette. Like for example, in the toolbox, put in the people that you would want to receive the message, and try to prioritize, try to put in the name of the person with the highest position first, and so on and so forth. Put in your email signature when you are sending an email. Try to respond in a timely manner, and during work hours. That's a good email etiquette. Okay. And let's see here. I guess that's it. So if you work on those different traits, those different work ethics traits, then I guess it's not that far from you, or success wouldn't be that far from you, na guys. So yeah, to summarize everything, so we have different traits that we have to work on. Work on your attendance, work on your character, work on your appearance, have a positive attitude. Coordination and teamwork is a good thing when you are working. Work on your time management and organizational skills, and be pro in communication. So I guess that's all for me, guys. Thank you for listening. And if you have questions, I guess it will be given to me by Robert. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sir Carl. So let's go straight na sa ating questions. So, well, in connection dun sa previous na topic about interview, during the interviews, there a way for our applicants to show that they have strong work ethic?
Yes, there is. As what we have discussed earlier, so I introduced you yung sa appearance. So having a good appearance when applying for a job would show that they really prepared for their application, for their interview. So that's something, or that's the easiest thing that they can work on, their appearance before going to the office or going to the recruitment hub to apply. So work on their appearance. So that's one way. It's also the same with their body language. So when you are being interviewed, try to avoid fidgeting around. Try to avoid holding your hands together as much as possible. Just look the interviewer in the eye, and then just maintain eye contact. Talk to them freely. Don't move or anything. So just relax.
Okay, so just by showing that pala, mapapakita na ang work ethics. I have never considered na
Hmm.
part na yon of showing my work ethics, yung just coming in
Yes.
and looking presentable. But after you explained, parang ako, oh nga, no, that is a good way to show. Start pa lang, you prove to them na you have strong work ethics without actually saying to them na, oh, I have strong work
Strong work
ethics.
ethics, yes. It's the
Mm,
same with what's happening right now, Robert, because right now most of the applications are conducted over the phone.
mm,
You can also show good work ethics, or you can show bad work ethics when you are answering the call. So I have had a lot of people, or I have called a lot of people who I did not consider for the post, because when I called them, they would sound as if they are not interested. Even though they
mm,
would say, like, for example, I would say, "Hi, this is Carl from VXI. I'm calling you about your application," and they would respond with, "Hi, this is ano, just give me 1 minute, or can you call me back later?" So that's already something that would show you that these people, even though they applied for the job, they are not that what you call it. They are not that really they they do not want that job that badly. That's
mm.
what I would want to say, because if you really want the job badly, the moment you receive the call, you would be energetic, you would be perky, you would be hyped up because you are looking to get that job, right? So that's something that our viewers could work on. So if you are being called for a certain job, please don't sound as if you are not interested. Try to be lively, and don't tell them to call back later. So that's a big no-no.
Okay. So, sir, I will be flashing across the screen. Question once again from Sir Noel from the Guidance Center. What would you recommend to those who are worried about their integrity or professional image after being dragged from a bickering or scandal in the workplace?
I see. That is a fairly common thing, especially when you start working, especially here in the BPO industry, because the BPO industry, we have a lot of companies. Although there are a lot of companies, but people in the different companies, they know each other. So for example, if you came from this certain BPO and then you go to our BPO, I would ask people from that BPO, how is this person, 'di ba? So they would tell me good things or bad things about that person. So that could be considered something that would affect your image. So if you have, or if you were, let's say, if you were involved in something that would affect your image from your previous company, the best thing that I would suggest would be for you to really be honest. So when you are applying for a job, try to tell them as much as possible if you know that there are things that could be already shared to other companies about what you did in the previous company, or in your previous company, or in your previous workplace. Try to be honest. Try to talk about it when you are being interviewed. Don't hide it, because if you hide it, it would make it seem that you are guilty of whatever scandal it is. So yeah, just be honest about it. just be honest about it. Tell them how you were involved in that scandal, how you were affected by it, because yeah, it would be better than lying about it.
Okay, so better to address it than do your best
Yeah.
to hide it. So
Yes.
I'll be posting another question across the street. How to work on the first day of the job to have others or colleagues a good impression from you.
Okay. When I started working, this could be different for everyone. This could be different for different jobs as well. But for me personally, the best thing that you can do to have a good impression of others would be to dress up. Not really dress up. When, for example, if you're working in the BPO industry and then you go to work wearing a gown, so that's not really dressing up. Try to make it simple. Try to look clean. Try to smell good. So that's one thing that you can do. Smell good, look clean, have a well groomed hair. And when people are talking to you, try to smile as much as you can, because first impression would always last. If they see that you are someone who is approachable when you start working, or um, when you are already in 2 weeks, 3 weeks working for them, they would still think that you are an approachable person. So yeah, first impressions last. So I guess when it's your first day, try to work on your appearance as well as your body language, telling them that, hey, I'm someone that you can approach. I'm someone that is here to help if needed. So there.
Yeah, so it's good to give the impression na pwede kang malapitan, na they
Mm.
could trust you with work, whether
Yes.
yung talagang task mo or extra work to help them. So try to appear approachable, have a pleasant personality, so on and so forth. So
Mm.
Sir Carl, for fresh grad, what's the one thing related to work ethics, sorry, that they need to develop the most? Parang ano yung nakikita mo from fresh grads that they lack usually in terms of ethics kapag nasa start ng job?
Mm. I guess ito, with what I shared earlier, sana yan siya. Just give me one moment, ah.
Sige sir, no problem. So after this, sir, we have another question. We have two more questions. So to our audience, we will be addressing these last two questions after ma-answer ni Sir Carl yung na-bring
Okay.
up ko. And unfortunately, hindi ko na ma-address yung following that because we are out of time na rin. Sige, Sir Carl.
Okay. So I guess the thing that they could work on the most, or especially for fresh graduates, would be their attitude. Something about the attitude, yung having realistic expectations of self. So that's one thing that the fresh graduates would really have to work on. So guys, I have received a lot of applicants before, especially when working in private, or when having job fairs in private schools and so on. So fresh graduates would flock our recruitment table. When you have job fairs, you have a table set up for you. So fresh graduates would flock our table and they would apply for a job, but they are not applying for the job that we are offering. They would apply for a managerial position. They would apply for a supervisor position. So guys, if you are fresh graduates, please have a realistic expectation of yourself. You are a fresh graduate, and if you are starting to work, the position that you are going to start with, it would be at the lowest position because you do not have experience yet. Okay, so that is something that most of our fresh graduates would have to understand, that nothing is given to them free. They have to work for it. So
Hmm.
there.
Sige. I think this is related to our next question somewhat. So let's go straight to it. Hello, sir. Is it good to work only according to what you are paid for, or do you need to work more?
That is actually a good question.
Great.
I really like that question. Okay. Emiads Bayo, yeah. For me personally, it's best to, if you want to achieve more, if you have to really, if you want to really succeed, if you want to be promoted, if you want to gain more recognition from your company, then it's better to work more than what you are paid for, because you are aiming for something that would give you growth in the in the future, diba? So yeah, it's always better to work more. But if you are satisfied with what you currently have, if you have a lot of responsibilities at home, if you really do not need growth, if you really do not need that promotion that badly, then I would say it's safe to just work according to what you are paid.
Okay.
So there, if
So
you are aiming for growth and if you are aiming for promotion, if there's nothing hindering you with promotion and growth, then try to do better or try to do more compared to what you would be doing just because you are paid for it.
okay. So you should set your priorities na rin when it comes to how you'd want to work, if you want to work hard for the promotion or if you have other responsibilities na kailangan nyo bigyan ng time. So this is our last question. Hi sir, can you give us tips to improve our positive thinking?
Yeah, certainly I can give you tips to improve your positive thinking. But guys, just so you know, positive thinking, it's different for each and every one of us because we have different ways on how we view things in life. So I can share with you how I look at things in my point of view, how I am optimistic in life. So here's what I do. If ever I am faced with an issue, whenever I am faced with a challenge, I try to think of things that, if I am able to pass or if I'm able to successfully pass through that issue or pass through that challenge. So I would think of things that would do well for me, things that I could reap rewards or whatnot. So those are things that you can do. Or whenever you see something, try to look at the good things, not just the bad things. For example, if you, for example, here with the recruitment team, usually what we have are, hiring requirements and so on. So what if, for example, a client would give us a hiring requirement of 100 in just 1 week? They tell us about this and the class would start next week. So that's a big problem, because you haven't prepared for it. But in my point of view or in my work's point of view, we try to look at it in a way that, this is business, this is growth for the company. So try to be positive about it, because if you are positive about things, that's the only time where that you can move on, in thinking of things to deal with the problem and so on. Because if you just look at the negative side, then you really cannot do anything, because you wouldn't have an objective in mind, you wouldn't have yeah, you know what I mean. So there, guys. So try to think about the good things that it would do for you,
Okay, so
or good
hopefully
things that
those
it would do.
tips will work for you. As I said
Yes.
kay Sir na po galing na we don't know if it will work for you. We're all different, pero you could try these out if you need something to improve your positive thinking. So this ends our Q&A, and basically this ends the portion of our talk. To the viewers who would want to learn more about company, go to jobs180.com/VXI. That's
Yes.
jobs180.com/VXI. You could see their company profile and their job openings. Okay.
Yes. And Robert,
So
if I
go
may,
ahead.
guys, if you are looking for a job here in Davao City, or not just in Davao City, also in Luzon, VXI is always hiring. In fact, here in Davao City, just in the next month, we are looking for at least 500 customer service representatives. So if you want, you can walk in at any of our sites here in Davao, or you can visit our Facebook page. Just look for VXIPH, or again, with what Robert said, you can go to jobs180.com/VXI. Thank you.
Okay, so to our viewers, keep that in mind. Maraming possible na opportunities sa VXI. So I would now like to present the Certificate of Recognition. The certificate is presented to Carl Benedict Salgado for imparting his valuable insights and expertise as resource speaker on developing a strong work ethic during the career orientation webinar. Given this 19th day of February 2021 at Central Mindanao University, Musuan Maramad, Bukidnon. So this is a certificate of recognition for you, sir, and we will make sure that you will get a copy of this.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Thank you,
Okay, thank
guys.
you, sir. Okay, so that's it for our topics. Reminder to our audience, our tech team has yeah, that's, you check your comments, check the comment section. You will see a link to yung evaluation form nyo. So you would need to fill up yung online evaluation form. So take a look at it. Naka-link naman na sa Google Docs na form. Click nyo lang yan and fill it up. And yeah, basically that's it. So to end, we would want to end, of course, our session with a message. So the message would come from another one of your school representatives. And this will be basically the last portion of our talk. So closing remarks will come from Kashmir Franz Jakutin, the president of University Senior Students Council of Central Mindanao University.
To our dear University President, Dr. Jesus Antonio Derrihe, to the University Administration, to our ALSA Director and staff, to the head of the Guidance and Counseling Center, to my dear graduating seniors, Usku morning to all. In this year's online career guidance seminar workshop, whose main theme is Marketing Me Live, I expect that every senior graduating students will make a resume impartial of the requirement of this academic year 2020-2021 in general clearance on how you represent yourself as a true-blooded CMU1, as well as how Central Mindanao University molded and prepared you as a whole. I want you to understand the importance of a resume, for it is a formal document that serves to show your career backgrounds and skills. In most cases, it is created in order to help a candidate to land a new job, to your new job. In addition, your positive manners reveal that you have made careful preparations and great efforts for your participation in advance of your professions. I would like to pay my deep respect to all the seniors for your positive participation in this seminar workshop. I hope that what you have learned through the seminar workshop, for it will help you a lot in your duties and lead to the stability of our country in the near future. Finally, on behalf of the University Senior Student Council officers, I would like to express my appreciation to all the seniors for taking time out of your busy duties just to attend and participate the seminar workshop, and to all college representatives for sending excellent participants to the seminar workshop. I would like to close my remarks and officially announce the end of the seminar workshop, wishing the future prosperity of all the participating CMU seniors and the stability of our country. Thank you for your attention, and once again, Usku morning to all.
Thank you, Sir Kashmir, for preparing the message, for ending our session with a good message para sa ating nanonood na seniors. Kami rin from Jobs 180, we want to extend our appreciation for those for you, actually, for taking the time to be here. I'm sure you are busy seniors, marami na kayong iniisip, preparation. So thank you for being here with us. A few announcements. We will have more webinars later on. Kami sa Jobs 180, go lang sa aming Facebook page, jobs180.com. Pwede nyo rin check doon mga other announcements, ang aming mga job openings. Go there, check FB. Also, dagdag ko, sa FB, post namin ang recorded video nitong live streaming. Check nyo yun doon. Don't forget to make your resume link. And again, as mentioned earlier, may evaluation form dyan. So that's it for us today. We hope, of course, you learned something. Once again, I'm Robert from Jobs 180. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and goodbye.